And as soon as he died, I was typecast as Michael Jackson's bodyguard. I was a bit upset because it went from Matt Fiddes, the business guru, property tycoon, martial arts.
Matt Fiddes
launched his martial arts course.
And he became a millionaire at the age of 19.
I didn't charge Michael for anything we did for him. We did it all for free.
Wait, you were his security for 10 years and he didn't charge you?
And I think that's why the relationship works really well with him and his family.
Thank you to all my team and Matt Fiddes, the man.
Tell me something about Michael you've never told anyone.
I don't think I ever told anyone about the Buckingham Palace story.
I want to know that.
Yeah, so one night, he woke me up at about 3 in. He shook me awake. Matt, I can't sleep. And his brothers used to say to me, you give my brother a microphone, you put him on stage, he becomes an animal.
Yeah.
He used to come off stage, I'm like, Mike, where did that come from? It's
What was the most chaotic experience that you had?
Michael made a bad decision once.
So without further ado, I'm Radin Jerome. Wherever you are in your life or wherever you're going, whether financially, spiritually, or for your health, I hope you're on your way. Now let's get into it.
Matt?
Matt, how you doing?
How are you, my brother?
I'm good, buddy.
Welcome to Dubai.
I love it here.
How many times have you been here before?
I've stopped over many times, like to go to Australia and places like that. But
Sure.
I actually stayed here and been around the site, so yeah, this is like my first time.
First time actually staying around seeing the country?
Yeah.
Wow, didn't know that.
That's my first podcast in Dubai too.
Is it?
Especially in the back of, or maybe I've never done this. This is really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. I mean, that's kind of the lure to it, isn't it? Everybody, you know how hard it is to do a podcast in a moving car? You just saw what I just had to go through.
Yeah.
That's not turning on, this is not turning on, I gotta wire this up, wire that up, all that. So, look, of course, like you're highly successful. 1,800 franchises around the world that you own and everything. You're pretty much retired now. You're going around living your best life. But what you're mostly known for is being Michael Jackson's security guard.
Yeah.
Can we start off there?
Yeah.
How did that start?
Yeah.
What
sure.
year was it?
So Michael Jackson became my best friend first, and it's all off the back of my martial arts schools, the Matt Fiddes martial arts schools, which went international. And I opened them up first when I was 17.
Okay.
And it was just an idea that I had that I can commercialize martial arts like they've done in America, where we put people on direct debits, we make it more educational and so forth. So on the back of that, I had nothing else to do. I'd failed all my school exams and there was nothing. My back was against the wall. All my family were watching me. My mum's one of 14, all university graduates, and my dad was all about get a trade, become an electrician or something like that. And they were horrified that I wanted to do martial arts as a career path. But yeah, I studied the greats in America, and I brought the concept over to the UK, and Matt Fiddes Martial Arts was born. I named it after myself to keep it accountable, so I can represent what my instructors would become. And I implemented everything from the States that I was studying, all the notepads and so forth, and that I was touring all the biggest schools in the world, studying the greatest and bringing it back. And long story short, within 6 months, I had the biggest martial arts school in the UK. I had 700 members.
Within 6 months?
Yeah, they gave me 6 months free rent, the landlords did, of this building in a town called Barnstable, because they didn't think it was going to work. No one did. It was like, how are you going to teach karate for a living? I ain't going to make any money.
Sure.
But yeah, within 6 months, I was doing $1 million a year. I mean, I was doing 80,000 a month, and I got no overheads. My overheads were a couple £100 a month. Yeah.
Jesus.
And I was 18.
And that's one studio?
I had one studio.
One single location.
One single location. Then I got excited and did 4 more.
Okay.
And that was kind of like, the people who are watching this in the UK understand, in North Devon, it's quite isolated. The next town was 40 miles away. So I thought my mindset was thinking, I had 5 locations. I was doing $1.5 million profit a year. I don't need to do any more. I thought I'm just going to chill out. I bought a Ferrari 355. And
nice.
18 and living the dream, man. And then the media got hold of it, basically. I was bullied at school, and it became Bully Boy becomes millionaire. They took a picture of me in my sports car, and that came to the attention of Michael Jackson's best friend, Yuri Geller. And Yuri Geller is world famous for like positive thinking. You got like Tony Robbins with the firework. You had Yuri Geller with the spoon bending and so forth. Massive star in the 70s and 80s. And his best friend was Michael Jackson. So literally in the middle of the night, one night, 3 a.m., I had a phone call saying, Matt, you got to come to my house. Yuri lived about 3.5 hours from me.
Did you know him?
Michael, or Yuri.
Who called you?
So Yuri Geller called me.
Okay, did you know him? No, you didn't know.
Yeah. So he saw me on TV. All this media coverage about becoming a millionaire at 18, it attracted a lot of TV coverage. So he watched me on TV and he said to his team, I want to meet this guy. And he wanted to do a power of the mind, positive thinking video. And then I would do self-defense and martial arts and distribute it to schools to stop bullying.
Sure.
So we became close friends. I didn't know he was friends with Michael. I knew Yuri Geller was extremely wealthy, very well connected, he's world famous and so on. Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, he calls me up, which is not uncommon. He's got company, well, he's famous all around the world, in Australia and stuff, so he has to stay up late for TV shows and things. And he said, you got to come to my house. And he wouldn't tell me why. And I said, well, how am I going to explain this to my missus? You know, you got to tell me why. He said, stop moaning, you got a Ferrari, get in your car, I love you, bye. Put the phone down on me. And I arrive at his incredible home in Sonnet-on-Thames, next to George Clooney's place. It's an amazing place. The gates open up like a replica of the White House. Wow. I pull up outside and there's nothing real special going on, and walk in the living room, and this skinny guy walks up to me and bows to me, says, hi, Master Fiddes. My name's Michael Jackson, pleased to meet you. And yeah, I thought it was like a prank show at first. I thought this is like, back then we had all these TV shows, these wind-up prank shows, and I was quite high profile back then too, and I thought, I'm getting stitched up. After like 5 minutes, I realised it's the real deal. Like, these guys are best mates. Yeah. Michael was best man at Yuri Geller's wedding, and we became firm friends, me and Mike, for 10 years. I took over I was bodyguard to him and this whole security operation.
What year was this that you met Michael Jackson?
98. So me and him were close from 98 to 2009.
So it was peak?
No, I wouldn't say it was peak. His peak was probably around like the bad and dangerous area.
What year was that?
That would have been like 93, something like that.
Okay. So you became very close with him.
Last 10 years of his life, yeah. So I probably had the most dramatic times, I'd imagine, with the false allegations and people not quite understanding him, the Martin Bashir documentary and that type of stuff. But we had some great times too, and he became my best mate, mentor, and taught me how to franchise my business. He taught me how to take Matt Fiddes martial arts from 5 locations and take it worldwide. And it's all down to him. Yeah, he's incredible.
Because obviously you've got a very successful franchise, right? The largest in the martial arts space around the world, over 1,800. So you think 1,800 individual locations. So you think Michael Jackson's guidance was a big part of that?
We had a conversation once in his hotel suite, because we couldn't go out much because he was too damn famous. And Michael's, you know, like they say, like billionaires are more interested in you than them because they get asked about themselves all the time.
Sure.
Well, Michael's always been asked about himself, about how'd you do the moonwalk and Thriller and Billie Jean. And so we're in this hotel suite and he just said, Matt, how's your business doing? I said, I've got 5 locations, but the next town's 40 miles away and I can't find anyone who's going to drive there. I'm only like 18, 19 at the time. And no one who's 35, 40 is going to work for me. And he's like, sure you can. So I'm the poor boy from Gary, Indiana. If I can become world famous, have the biggest selling album of all time, Thriller, sell out stadiums in every country of the world, you can find a way to get someone to travel 40 miles. Stop this small thinking. He really gave me a talking to. I said, how am I going to do that, Mike? And he goes, it's called franchising or licensing. And my immediate response was, well, no one's ever done that in the martial arts world before. And he just turned around and said, well, that's exactly why you got to do it. Because no one's done it. And he wrote down on a napkin everything I needed to do. So script everything, put everything in manuals, be aggressive at marketing, public relations, be good at sales, you know, have a business in a box. And he had the biggest endorsement deal ever of all time, Pepsi Cola. So he understood licensing, which is very similar to franchising. And he kept me accountable. Whenever Michael Jackson would call me, I'd try and dodge his phone calls because it was like, how many schools you open, Matt? You know, and
really?
How many students you got now? And I was like, put me on the spot. And I'd throw the question back at him, how you doing, Mike? Is that just signed an $80 million deal to tour Korea, and I'd come off the phone thinking, I need to up my game. This guy's kicking my butt.
Yeah, of course. It's Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah.
How can you compete with that?
It's funny though. Do you know, you say that. Honestly, I tried to compete with that because he was my peer group. He was my, not just him. Do you know the whole saying, your network is your net worth? It's so true. The people you surround yourself with. And actually, one of my best friends is a good guy who's pretty much built Dubai, Mohammed Al Fayed, who owned Harrods.
Wow.
And Ritz Hotel. So through Michael, I had this whole network of people, what you'd call now a mastermind. We didn't have that word back then. It would just be our inner circle, our secret friendship circle. And the dinner tables, the conversations were very different. So when you're 18 years old and in your early 20s, you're exposed to that, it's going to make you think differently and so forth. So it wasn't just him, it was his whole network. And when you're Michael Jackson's fan, literally everyone wants to be your mate.
Yeah.
It opens doors.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be hard to say and be honest to you to say that if it wasn't for meeting him, would I be where I am now? Probably, I don't know. Probably not, no. Not to the extent.
Everyone can say that. Everyone can say that in their life, though. Everyone gets lucky. There's, you know, I don't like people that shit on other people that because they got lucky. Oh, he got lucky because
you
of
make your
this.
own luck, don't I?
Listen, even you got lucky. Everyone got lucky.
I still had to make that drive that night.
Yeah, but
gain the guy's trust.
But everybody makes their own luck during life. You can't discredit it, right? Like I wouldn't. Like, you meeting these people because you were friends with Michael. It's just everyone has their wins in life, and that was yours. Yeah, you know. So, what was the age difference between you and Michael?
So, yeah, good point. So, he would have been about 40, 40 years old. I remember celebrating his 40th birthday. So, yeah, between 40 and 50, because he died at 50, so it's the last 10 years of his life. Which is ironic for me, because I'm 44 now, and I used to look at him as if he was old. And it was only seems like yesterday. But, yeah, so, yeah, I used to think of him, and he had a very wise head on his shoulder. You know, he had a lot of weight to carry. When we live in the social media age at the moment, we worry about trolls and haters. Well, I don't worry about them. I love them. They make me who I am. But whereas he had to put up with it on a massive scale with the mainstream media. You know, sometimes I look back and think, my friend had a lot on his plate, and that was without social media. Couldn't go anywhere, paparazzi, and harassed daily.
What was the age gap?
What was the age gap?
Yeah, between you and Michael.
Yeah.
10 years or?
No, it would be a lot more than that. So I would have been like early 20s, and he was, it's going to be 20 years, 25 years.
20 years, something like that. Okay.
Michael will be 65 this year, and I'm 44.
Okay.
So there you go.
When you sit at those tables, when you're Michael Jackson's friends, you sit at those tables. Like what? You know, I was. Do you know cryptocurrency? Like, do you know Tether? USDT.
I watched your podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was. A friend of mine said, let's go get dinner in Arts Club. I'm inviting some people. The guy that owns Tether came, and he was sitting right next to me, and he said to me his company profits $4 billion every quarter. And I was like, wow. He's like, yeah, well, we're the biggest bank in the world if you think about it. And also we have 100 staff. The biggest bank in the world, JP Morgan, has 680 staff, 1,000 staff. Wow. We have 100. And he goes, you don't need to have that much staff at banks. If you think about it, if it's all digital, you just need to make sure the machine's working. And you just don't know I didn't know what to say. Usually I'm the charismatic guy, I'm talking, I'm mingling, I'm bullying, you know what I mean? I'm pinning people against each other, like getting the party going, right? And at this stage, I just couldn't say anything because what am I gonna say to this guy? So did you feel like that when you were like with Mohammed Al Fayed and Michael Jackson and, you know, when you had dinner, were you thinking like, what the fuck do I say?
Yeah, they just were like mates to me. They were just friends, and I think because the way it happened so organically and naturally with Yuri bringing me into his network and the friendship, and it was very a non-transactional relationship too. So I didn't charge Michael for anything we did for him. We did it all for free, and I think that's why the relationship worked really well with him and his family, because there was no money. Well, I was already made my money, so I didn't need his money. He was having difficulties, which is well publicized now with his finances. So yeah, at the dinner table, I mean, they were very good.
Wait, you were his security for 10 years and you didn't charge him?
Didn't charge him nothing, no.
Nothing?
No. He tried to give me crazy money, but I was like, no.
But what if he wanted to go, hey, I've got a show in Japan?
Yeah, I would jump on the plane.
So he would fly you out,
he
everything?
Would give me like, yeah. Most of the time he would give me a couple of hours notice, and he'd be on a plane in airport in New York, expect me to pick him up at Heathrow in London.
No.
In the back of my car, yeah.
No.
Yeah. I was just waiting at arrivals on Terminal 5. I got footage of it. And everyone's there waiting, and no one's got any idea who's about to walk through. And then Michael walks through with his American bodyguard, and I join him and jump in the back of my car, and we go and hang out.
What car was it?
I had a Mercedes S-Class then.
Okay, so similar to this.
Similar to this, yeah.
You'd be driving?
I would be driving, and Mike would be at the back, and then he would have another bodyguard with him, and we were just... It's crazy, man. You want to see people's faces when you turn up with MJ.
Why was he not flying for private?
So after 9/11, the laws changed. So before 9/11, you could come off the tarmac if you had his kind of fame, superstardom.
Sure.
After 9/11, you have to be royalty. So unless he came in on a royal plane, which he did, the Sultan of Brunei and King of Bahrain used to help him out sometimes. So he used to fly internationally, and he'd have to come through the same process as any one of us.
No.
Yeah, so we used to have like tricks, lock him in toilets while waiting for luggage, or run like hell. So we'd be the first off the plane, and I was the last on. So we literally would let us go and run like crazy. And then if the baggage went there or we weren't ready, we used to lock him in the toilet cubicle.
No.
Yeah. Most famous man in the world, and someone's got a toilet next to him, they've got no real idea who's in the cubicle next door.
No.
There's no glamorous about being Michael Jackson, nothing at all.
Really?
Nothing at all. Now after 9/11, everything changed. Yeah, he had to come through the same way. But it was quite cool seeing that side of it to him too. I mean, that's one of my fondest memories is when I used to pick him up and people waiting for their relatives to come through. You had the behind the scenes paparazzi, the airport. So you see the flashes coming before Michael even arrives. And then I thought, my mate's coming now, and flashes are going. People think, what's going on? And then the look on their faces when they actually see Michael Jackson with his face mask on, and they just can't believe it. They just go for him. They just literally go for him.
Rage at him, like just run towards him.
Yeah.
Like it's Jesus.
Just like a flipping scrum.
Yeah.
Even like at celebrity parties, we've been to the biggest parties of parties where you've had Beyonce there and everyone. As soon as we go in with Michael, they would just close the whole thing down, and then we'd have to go after 10 minutes. It was like the king of celebrities.
That's so strange, because even now in the celebrity world, you see big time celebrities walking through airports. People don't rush them or anything. There's security around
changed,
them. But like I wouldn't even say it's changed. I would say it's just Michael.
Yeah.
Michael was just so different from everyone else.
I've never seen that level of fame.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of famous people, but I've never seen that fame ever.
Where people just go crazy.
Yeah.
Chaotic.
I don't think we'll ever see it again. I think times have moved on. Michael was famous since the age of 5. And it's hit after hit after hit. He was very mysterious as the way he presented himself. So people wanted to take a peek. He knew how to manipulate people's minds in the media. And was a master at that. But no, I don't think we'll ever see it again.
Jesus Christ. Do you look back at your experience and go, fuck, I was so blessed to see that side of it?
Not until, I tell you, it was normal to me. It was normal. And everything that happened was normal. So even at 18 years old, when you're a millionaire and your best mates are Michael Jackson and the most famous people in the world, and I was living in a little tiny town called Barnstable with 30,000 people. I was driving around in a brand new Ferrari 355, and I had all the muscles back then, and we had long hair and everything perfect, like you can imagine. I looked like an idiot.
I've seen your old photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder why the whole town hated me.
Yeah.
So well, that's the way I thought anyway, because it couldn't relate to me, can I? What's this guy doing? He's moved here, become so rich, and hanging out with the most famous men in the world, and driving this Ferrari around this little tiny town where the average income was like 14,000 a year. They couldn't relate to it. So looking back now, I get it. I get why people gave me a hard time, and so on, and I understand it. But yeah, and I do know I was extremely privileged to be part of this elite, like, mastermind group at such a young age. And even now, 15 years after he's passed away, nothing's normal. I mean, there's not a day that don't go past where I don't get stopped in England to be asked about him, or he comes up in a conversation, or
no way,
Instagram messages and so forth. Yeah.
How do you find that? Do you feel like
I have to have
get off
him?
Really?
Yeah.
Do you feel like right now you're just like, get off it? I don't want to keep talking about Michael Jackson.
No. At the beginning, when he died, it was very intense, and I was a bit upset because it went from Matt Fiddes, the business guru, property tycoon, martial arts mogul, they used to call me, and as soon as he died, I was typecast as Michael Jackson's bodyguard. So when anything's wrote about me, it's Michael Jackson's bodyguard. I get how that works, right? Because it's like the podcast here. If you put Michael Jackson's Bodyguard, the thing will go viral. If you just put Matt Fiddes, the martial arts millionaire, do okay, but nothing like his level of superstardom, one of the most Googled men in the world forever. So it was tough, and I went to therapy because when he died, his music was everywhere. All the stage shows we tried to get made when he was alive suddenly were being commissioned, like the West End shows and so on, Thriller Live and things, and people wanted answers. So wherever I went, people were like, what happened and what's going on? And he was my mate. And this is the people, he wasn't Michael Jackson to me, he was Mike, you know, and very close to my children and my family and my mom. And it was tough, because normally you can bereave a friend and move on, but Michael will always be in my ears. It's funny, I go into like restaurants and Thriller will come on, or Billie Jean. Actually, the other night we were up in the north of the Emirates. Is it called Rack? Yeah. And we arrive at the hotel. It's got like a nice beach resort. I thought, I wonder what the entertainment is tonight. And it was a Michael Jackson lookalike.
No.
A tribute, yeah.
No.
I went and said hi to him backstage. You couldn't believe it. He performed to his actual Bodyguard.
He knew who he was?
Yeah.
He knew who you were?
Yeah. He was Michael Jackson fanatic, and had said hi, I had a picture with him and stuff. And yeah, it's cool stuff I get to do like that. And they ask me questions, and yeah, you would never know that he'd be performing in the Emirates to Michael Jackson's actual Bodyguard.
In Rack.
Yeah, in Rack,
Like out of nowhere, you know.
I couldn't believe it.
In the rural part of Dubai, in the rural part of UAE. Jesus, I mean, just some of the stories.
He loved it here, though.
Has he been here before?
Michael loved it here. He had lots of business deals here, and I believe Jermaine Jackson lives here. Janet has got a place here, and
Jermaine lives here.
Yeah. Jermaine's always in and out of Dubai and Bahrain and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and Michael loved it here because of the level of safety.
But the thing is, when Michael was alive, Dubai wasn't really Dubai.
No.
Was it?
Who do we used to come and see? Was it Alaweed? Does that mean this to you?
Alaweed?
Prince Alaweed?
Saudi.
Is it Saudi?
Saudi.
Yeah. We used to come fly in, and yeah. No, it wasn't. I don't know. We used to have all these funny myths about Dubai, that it was not safe and all the rest of it. And,
yeah.
But then, obviously, Muhammad Al-Fayed would tell us about it, and he lived for Dubai, so.
What about Michael's kids?
Yeah.
Do you have a relationship with them still?
So the only thing, out of respect for them, I don't talk about their kids, because now they're in their 20s now, but they're doing good. They've turned out amazing. Michael did an incredible job as their dad, and yeah, they're under a lot of pressure at the minute, as you can imagine, with everything that goes on in the whole Michael Jackson crazy world, trying to figure things out, but they're doing good. Prince is doing well as a movie director. Paris is an amazing model, and Blanket, or Biggie, they know him as now. Yeah, he's making his own paths, but yeah, I keep, for them, I keep their life private because that's the way they want it. So
sure.
And I think,
are you in touch with them or no?
No, not how. When I was with Michael, they were a big part of us everywhere we went. But then after the funeral, things kind of changed. Although to be fair, I've not tried reaching out to them. I've just left it.
Of course. Yeah.
I got my best friend. He's godfather to my kids, and he's godfather to Michael Jackson's kids. He played the original Oliver Twist. Mark Lester, he's called it.
Nice.
And same age as Michael. That was the thing. They were in the magazines together in the Jackson 5.
Sure.
And he's not heard from them either. But he's not tried to reach out to him. So at some stage we will connect. But
yeah,
you know, they were very young when their daddy passed.
Exactly. And their daddy's friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And their 20s now.
And there's lots of us. You know, there's a
lot. No. And also they're in their 20s. They've got their own identities now. They're creating. They're busy.
Yeah.
They're so busy creating their own identities and trying to come out of that shadow, that huge shadow that's probably impossible to get out of. When, you know that infamous video of Michael Jackson holding, was it Blanket?
Blanket, yeah.
Off the balcony. Was that staged?
Right, so I was you're probably aware of this, or you've done your research. I was in the room that day.
I'm a professional.
I was in the room that day, we're in Berlin, and there was this very controversial documentary maker called Martin Bashir.
Yeah.
He was there with us. And also a very controversial doctor. I don't know what the hell went on. All I know is that my friend went off with a doctor and he came back erratic. He was nervous about, he was accepting a Bambi award for lifetime achievement, and he was nervous about how it's going to be, how the public are going to receive him and so forth. So whether the doctor gave him something to make him a little bit more confident or something, I don't know, but he basically, my friend Michael came in high as a kite, and not on A-class drugs, I want to clear it, it was only whatever the doctor would prescribe him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't right, but I didn't see the full extent of what was going on. So first of all, what they don't show you is they took Prince, the oldest son, to the balcony, or Michael did, to show the fans. The fans are all outside. And then they showed Paris. And they were chanting for the baby. So he went and took the baby out. Obviously, I'm inside, so I've got no idea what the hell's going on. And then came back in the room. And then he went off. I mean, if you watch part of that documentary, that hit piece that was done on Michael, you'll see Michael's shaking the baby. He's clearly on some kind of medication. And yeah, I get a lot of stick for this because people think I should have stopped it. But you got to remember, I was in my early 20s, and who am I to stand up to Michael Jackson? Plus, I'm in the room. I don't see the extent of it. It's already happened.
But that's not a security concern. That's more of a PR concern. That's not your job.
Yeah, and I was there as his friend.
Yeah.
I was not bodyguard on that particular trip. He was lonely, so me and Mark Lester flew in to hang out with him at the hotel. But anyway, throughout the day, the media were turning up outside, and Michael was noticing it, thinking, geez, I'm popular. And he started getting really happy, and the satellite dishes were turning up, and more people were turning up, and before he knew it, it was unbelievable outside. And then we had a phone call from America, obviously due to the time delay, saying, could you keep Mr. Jackson away from the news? And we were like, yeah, sure, what's the problem? So he's all over the world for hanging blanket over the balcony, his son over the balcony. Now, interesting thing, we've been watching it on German TV, and all German TV said he was showing his baby to the world. That was it. There's no controversy, nothing like that. Germany loved Mike. But in America, it was, sending the authorities, there's something going on here, something's not right, and so forth. So nobody wanted to tell Michael what's going on. No one wanted to tell him. In the end, his best friend, Mark, who's with me, told Michael the world's took it the wrong way. I think you put your kid at danger. He was devastated, man. He locked himself up in the bedroom, and geez. I dread to think what the doctor gave him, but he was in there for a good day or so. And yeah, it turned out he hanged him over. And I'm not going to, obviously I'm a dad of 6, right? So I'm not going to say what he did was right, but he would never have dropped his kids. He would never put his kids at harm. And the angle of that picture, and I get hated on because of this, but I don't care, because I was there. They went. The angle of that picture, this hotel's got a ledge underneath. He couldn't drop the baby if he wanted to.
Oh, the angle.
They picked the right angle where Michael's got a face looks like he's crazy, and all the pictures they could use, and they used that particular one. But I'm not justifying it. He shouldn't have done it. I would have done it as a dad. He knew that. He apologised, and we had to get a transfer flight via London on the way back, and we were driving in a car just like this, and he was watching dads throwing their kids up in the air and then catching them, throwing them up in the air and catching them, he said, if that was me doing that, Matt, because I'm Michael Jackson, it'll be all over the world news, and I'll be accused of putting my children at risk, but because they're not famous, they get away with it.
Yeah.
So he paid a price for being Michael, man. That guy, yeah, he lived one hell of a life.
When I reflect back on that video, it did look like he was about to drop the baby.
Yeah.
No? Is it because he was high on something from the doctors?
He was on something. My suspicion is that he was on a drug called ephedrine,
okay,
which is what he used to take and openly would say, and I would be concerned, but a doctor would give it to him, which he would take before performances, which is not uncommon for bodybuilders, fitness athletes, and you come from that background, that's not seen as a dangerous medication. But my guess in looking back, he was probably given ephedrine to make him more confident, which is like the next thing up from caffeine and maybe down from speeds you up. And dancers take that to perform. So, but yeah, he was not himself. No, he was stuttering and talking fast, and yeah, he was not himself. His whole demeanor was not right.
And that's probably what caused him having such a motivation of like, I want to show the world.
Yeah,
blanket.
He was so protective of his children. It's out of character for him. Like, he wanted that baby. The reason blanket's called blanket is because put blanket always covered him to keep him shielded from the public. He wanted his children to be shielded. So for him to go and show the world his baby like he did, then he loves his fans. He wanted to make his fans happy. I mean, that's what it came down to. But yeah, it was bad judgment. Bad judgment, and he was not in the right mind. He had the wrong people around him, unfortunately, all his life. All that time I knew him anyway, it was just, we went through about 10 managers, and the good ones he got rid of because people got in his ear. We'd all get fired off at times because he would get paranoid and someone would whisper in his ear, maybe you can't trust this person anymore. And yeah, but it's hard.
Where were you when you found out he died?
Yeah, so I was at home.
Where? London?
No, in Barnstable. So my head office stayed there. It's not there anymore, but it stayed there. And I lived there. My children were going to school there, and so I just used to commute to wherever I needed to be. Bear in mind, Michael spent most of his time, in the time I really bodyguarded him was from like 99 through to 2004. Then we had the allegations made against him. So that was when I was publicly seen with him. Then I became more of his friend up until his death. I didn't do, because I had children by that point. He didn't want me to take a bullet for him. So I came home from work and sat on the sofa with my daughter Madison. She knew Michael. And Yuri calls me. He's the guy who introduced me to him. One of Michael's best friends. He calls me up and he says, Matt, I got CNN have called me, Fox News. They're saying Michael's in a coma. Now, this is like 2 weeks before he was due to do a 50-show residency at the O2 Arena in London called This Is It.
Were you part of that?
I would have been there, yeah.
You would have been there. Did they reached out to you?
Yeah, me and Mark Lester were going to actually live with Michael. He hired a house.
Ah, okay.
And furnished it how he wanted. He didn't want to be stuck in a hotel, so we were going to live there with our kids and his kids and make sure he sleeps and keep the doctors away and so forth. So it was all ready to go. So I just said to Yuri, it's just one of Michael's publicity stunts. He's very famous for doing these PR stunts and stuff. He's fine.
Purposely.
I spoke to him on a Tuesday, right? This was a Thursday afternoon, 2 days after. I spoke to him on Thursday. He called me asking for Joseph Jackson's phone number. That's his dad. He used to refer to him as Joseph.
Why did he not have his phone number? His dad's phone number?
He was not happy. Michael had very limited access to anything. He had to get my number off a friend of a friend who was there at the time. He claimed he didn't know where he was. He claimed he was being treated bad. He was being pushed to rehearse. He was exhausted. And he said, his exact words to me, because I'll never forget the phone call, he said, I need Joseph Jackson because he's the only person who can sort this shit out. And I said, what's up, Mike? Because if he asked for Joseph, I knew he was quite famous that they didn't really get on in the early years. You know, they sorted out in the end. So what's up? He said, I need to sort this shit out. It's the only person who can do it is Joseph Jackson. Now, Joseph was in Las Vegas. So it was not uncommon for him not to have the numbers, right? Because the staff got moved on. The production company took over his management. The bodyguards were not us anymore. It was the production companies. So getting hold of Michael was pretty much down to him reaching out to us. It was very difficult for us to reach him in the final few months.
So he didn't have a phone to call people?
He had to use one of the other team's phones, yeah.
He didn't have a phone.
And then people, Michael never had a phone, no.
Never had a phone.
Well, people used to buy him phones, or managers and stuff, to try and make life easy. He's so hard to get hold of. And he used to laugh. He said, Matt, if they ever drain the lake at Neverland, you've got this incredible lake at Neverland. So at the bottom of the lake, what you're going to find is all these phones, gold-plated iPhones, everything you can imagine. Because he just used to throw them in the lake and everyone buying them because he didn't want the damn things.
Yeah.
He wants some peace and quiet.
Yeah. So when Michael drained if you drain the swamp,
he said
you're gonna find.
So yeah, whenever he used to, his managers and people would buy him a phone. I tried once to give him a BlackBerry and he whispered in my ear and said, if they ever drain Neverland Lake, they're going to find all these phones at the bottom.
At the bottom.
He used to lob them in the lakes, yeah. It was so funny.
That's so funny.
It's quite hard to communicate with him. So I just thought it was a publicity stunt.
Okay.
So I said to Yuri, he's okay. He was a bit erratic the other night. He had a doctor with him. He was off to rehearsals. And but basically the phone call with him, I was on the phone for about half an hour with him. I actually kept the phone records and stuff too, because it's kind of good to look back on, for the kids and stuff. And And he spoke to Madison, he spoke to Lola, my 2 oldest daughters. And Madison can still remember parts of that phone call today. And there was no real raise for concern. He did beg for me to come out there. He was lonely, but I had 3 children and a business to run. I couldn't just drop everything and leave. And he called Mark Lester after, his best friend, the Oliver Twist guy. And he couldn't, Mark was a single dad with 4 kids. He couldn't just leave. Had we known Michael was going to at risk of dying, we would have got on a flipping next plane. But we just thought he's going to call off the shows. I just thought Michael was going to, how can he do 50 shows at 50 years old at the extent that he performs? And we just thought he was moaning and he just couldn't be bothered and would just claim off his insurance. And bear in mind, right, he just passed a real tight medical for this production for 50 shows. So he's been tested and everything, and he was fit and healthy. So there was no concerns from his health. And the doctor we had at the time was not someone who we felt we should be concerned about. He was more like a family doctor who's been around a few years, not like the previous doctors we've had who were troubled in the past.
Sure.
So
Sorry.
the idea of him being ill or being in a coma was just, as far as I'm concerned, it was just a publicity stunt.
Sure.
So I said to Yuri, no, he's fine. Yuri put the phone down. And then he called me back about an hour later and said, Matt, are you sure? So they had fallen out a little bit. He said, can you ring Michael Jackson and see if everything's okay? Because now they're saying he's had a heart attack and it's not looking good. I was like, Yuri, amount of publicity stunts I've fallen for. Well, I've called him and he's like, ha, got ya.
Oh.
I said, it's too close to the concert. It can't be for real.
Yeah.
And
So Yuri had a fallout with Michael. He didn't want to call him. He got you to call him.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Just a slight disagreement, not a fallout.
No, Michael, what happened? Martin Bashir was introduced to well, it's kind of wrong to say introduced. Michael wanted to meet Martin Bashir.
Okay.
Yuri Geller
Facilitated it.
Facilitated
Okay,
There
got
was
ya.
3 guys, and he kind of felt that
Through
shit
you,
that-
I
yeah,
got burnt.
He got screwed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
yeah. But they made up in the end. They were going to meet up and stuff.
Okay.
We had it all sorted out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it never happened.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway,
Yeah,
the only way to find out for sure was to ring his nanny.
sure.
But I didn't have to. The next phone call that came in was Mark Lester, Michael's best friend, and he said, where are you? I said, I'm at home. He goes, who are you with? I said, I'm with my wife and my kids. He goes, I'm at. I've got some bad news. He said, Michael's dead. I said, whoa, what do you mean he's dead? He says, I just spoke to the nanny. She was screaming down the phone, and yeah, that's all we knew. He's dead, gone. And at the time, there was nothing on the news. Had the news on, Sky News and stuff, because no one had the guts to actually go with the story. They wanted the coroner to come out with an official statement, so we had to wait like 3 or 4 hours. It got really difficult because members of his family were ringing me saying, what's these rumours about my brother? And are you with my brother? And I already knew by that point he'd gone, passed away.
So you knew before the family did?
Not all the family. There was some family that knew before me, but I was very early on, yeah.
Okay.
So it was difficult. I had people ringing me and I was like, how do I deal with this? You know, one of the brothers was in a shopping mall and he's not as recognizable as the other Jacksons. And they were saying, Michael Jackson's dead, Michael Jackson's dead. And he went up to someone and said, excuse me, what did you say about Michael Jackson? Oh, Michael Jackson died this morning. And he had no idea they were talking to his brother.
No way.
That's how we found out. Yeah, it was harsh. It was tough, man. And then after that, you can't defame a dead person. So all these stories were just coming out and trashing him. And yeah, there was an unforgettable Thursday evening. I stayed up for 2 days. It was absolutely mental when he passed away. And the whole world loved him. The whole world loved him. Everything started to happen. Everything he tried to do, he couldn't even get a record deal, a Broadway show, nothing. It all started appearing when he passed away. Just like he predicted, he used to say to me, when I'm dead, I'll be more successful than I am alive.
Wow, he said that.
Yeah. He's seen what happened to Elvis. He was married to Elvis's daughter, remember, Lisa Marie Presley.
Yeah.
So he understood how the power of not being around anymore would escalate him. Yeah, he took care of everything, put everything in place to. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar estate. He's the richest dead pop star. He earns more than the living ones. And he died, I understand, $500 million in debt, and now he's worth several billion.
So he died 500 million in debt.
Yeah.
Because Hollywood really turned against him, and they wanted to do that. You know, my theory with Hollywood is it's like a sun that gives you energy for you to grow, but then as you're growing and you're getting close to the sun, then it burns you and you crash down.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know the way I look at it now, right? We've seen many examples, haven't we, where Michael got too big. People might not know this, he basically owned half of Sony Music, literally. And a lot of artists were signed to his record label. Everyone wanted to be attached to Michael Jackson. Keeping people away, even like megastars, was difficult at times. And when you get too big, we've learned now with you love him or hate him, with Andrew Tate, and in the UK we've got TV presenters who got too powerful and they bring him down, and podcasters, people like Russell Brand, and so forth. And when you get too big, it seems to be that they want to bring you down. They build you up, knock you down. The Michael at the time was the megastar. He was massively powerful, and there were people who were out to bring him down. And they tried to succeed, but they never did. These crazy, stupid allegations, and I mean, they couldn't pick he's the nicest guy in the world. I mean, I used to leave my kids with him, and he was into women. We knew because we were around him, protecting his sexuality at his request, because the way he was brainwashed by record labels that you can't be seen as gay or straight. If you have a girlfriend, you lose half your fan base. So we used to protect his wishes. And towards the end, he wanted to do that documentary although he got screwed over, but he wanted to show people the real Mike. Because behind the doors, he used to take all the makeup off, put a pair of jeans on, open up whiskey and laugh and joke and swear, and it was all an act.
Yeah.
But it's backfired on him in the social media age.
When you heard he died, how did you go? Did you start crying days, or how were you going through
straight away. It was like, I remember my daughter Madison came out and gave me a hug, and I said, Uncle Michael's died. And she sat with me. Yeah, it was disbelief, absolute disbelief, I think. Had I not heard it from Mark, I wouldn't have believed it, but Mark was so close to Mike. And the fact that he just spoke to the nanny and who had the kids. Yeah.
Who do you hold at fault for his death? The doctor, or do you think, look, he was just in this downward spiral of drugs that, well, not street drugs, but like, prescription drugs that he's dancing on a line where a little bit left or right could have catastrophic circumstances.
I spoke to his long-term photographer recently, and he summed up Michael to me, because I said to him, it's such a shame, I miss Mike. And he goes, you know what, Matt? Michael Jackson was never going to live long and wide. And that sums it up. That guy lived and breathed being Michael Jackson. He loved it. He flipping loved it. He would just literally, like that song, Working Day and Night, that guy was just on it constantly, creating the mystery, coming up with publicity stunts, creating new music. He would never stop. He was a workaholic. And his brothers used to say to me, they just wish Michael would just calm down and not be Michael Jackson sometimes. He just loved it, man. He loved entertainment, loved show business. Yeah. But who I hold at fault? Well, obviously, I have spoken to the doctor since he's come out of jail. I wanted to hear what the hell happened.
You reached out to him?
He reached out to me.
Wow.
Yeah, just by chance in Australia, we got the same agent, a guy called Max Markson, and Dr. Conrad Murray kind of wanted to do a TV show and get his story across, and he wanted us to hear him out. And I was curious to see what's this guy got to say, And we was on the phone for a good hour, but I wasn't buying any of it. I just,
really?
No, not at all. There's no way. He was trying to blame it on Michael, and he did nothing wrong. The guy gave him a general anesthetic every night for like 3 months, which is what you have to have an operation, right?
Yeah.
You go to sleep, knock you out.
So he knocks him out completely.
Not even proper sleep. He's still walking around like a zombie. He's not even asleep. You're not even getting that quality of sleep.
Yeah.
Just puts you unconscious.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the right equipment there and so forth. So his theory is, I believe, is that Michael woke up in the middle of the night and he panicked and he turned the drip and flooded his body. But he should have been in the room with Michael. Had he been in the room with Michael and not left the room, Michael would still be here.
But why was Michael on that much drugs?
I honestly...
Was he addicted to prescription pills, prescription medicine?
I never saw him take it, but I would see the aftermath. So we'd have an important meeting to go to, and he would be fine, and then he'd go off into a bathroom, come back, and about 20 minutes later he would be slurring. And I think a lot of anxiety. He's a very sensitive soul. Worried too much about what the world and public thought of him, massively. But do you know what? These doctors, though, they were clever because they were fascinated by him. They loved superstardom, and they knew if they could get him addicted on something, they were staying his life. Yeah. We had this one. I'll talk about it. What the hell? I think he's out there anyway. We had this one occasion, like where he was at Neverland, and he had an infection on his shin, and I won't say what really happened, but basically he told the world he had a spider bite, and he had a doctor there, and we were hearing all the time, this infection is getting bad, it's not getting any better, and we were getting phone calls coming in, and the suspicion was that the doctor was making it worse so that he could stay longer at Neverland.
Oh wow.
And be with Michael. Yeah, crazy.
Wow. At that point, you just don't know who you can trust.
He was, yeah. I mean, even like when when they were out to get him, and he got the arrest warrant was issued in 2004. They recorded his conversation on the plane. People went to jail for that. He just couldn't. That guy couldn't do anything. He used to test us. He used to ring us up and put a voice on and offer us crazy amounts of money and pretend to be a journalist, and it was actually him. We would fall for it a lot of the time. Yeah. He was a character, but the guy was a prankster, but the most genius mind. I used to study the greats, and you say to me all the time, Matt, just study the best out there and what you want to do. Yeah. And study everything they do and make it better. That's all you got to do. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Jesus.
And he was so right. He would study like James Brown, Fred Astaire, Charlie Chaplin, take all the best bits, and he created the whole Michael Jackson dance. Yeah. Made it so unique.
Yeah. So you just don't know who to blame, whether you do blame the doctors that get him hooked on things to keep him in his life, or do you blame him for going down that direction of prescription pills. But at that point, when you're so sensitive to the news, because he was very sensitive to the news and what people say about him, he needed something to calm himself down, right?
Yeah.
Did he ever delve into narcotics, like smoke weed or anything else like that?
Not in front of me, but I understand he used to smoke a joint with Barry Gibb from the Bee Gees, and I think that's out there now, and I don't think he liked it though.
He didn't like weed?
Yeah, because I remember once there was a story where Snoop Dogg came into his room and was smoking weed, and he didn't like the feeling that it gave him and stuff.
Sure.
He just felt because a doctor gave it to him, then it's okay.
Then it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem. That was the challenge with it. But you see it all the time now with Hollywood, don't you? People are dying of prescription drugs and accidental overdoses and so forth.
Yeah.
But there's nothing we could have done. The control was taken out of our. Nothing we could have done. Nothing at all.
My mum had a bit of problem with prescription pills, and I tried to move her away into weed. Yeah. So now she has, because in Australia it's legal. You get it from the doctors. It's the oil you put on the back of your tongue, and you can go to sleep with THC in it. So not just CBD. So I mean, right now is obviously different. But my mum also thought the same thing. It's from the doctor. It's okay. It's off the streets. You know. Talk to me about his white skin.
Yeah, sure. So when he died, it finally put to rest all the speculation, and it was confirmed by the coroner he had vitiligo from the autopsy. So Michael suffered with vitiligo, where he lost the pigment in his skin and it would go blotchy. And he had this in the early thriller days. Oh, by the way, that's where the pain medication started. He got burnt filming a commercial with his brothers, and he had like a 3rd degree, 4th degree burn. And he was prescribed a painkiller called OxyContin, which is a very addictive painkiller. That's where the medication started off from. Extremely painful burn. And so what I understand, the makeup artist did whatever they could to blend in his skin color to make it look as natural as possible. Bear in mind, he's a black American, and did his best, and to the point where it appeared on his neck and everywhere, and he just couldn't. You can see old pictures of it. The media don't want to show it, but literally there's blotches everywhere. It just got out of control. So he made the decision, to my understanding, I never had this conversation with him, but he made the decision to take it the whole way. Just what the hell, nothing I can do anymore. So his legs were not white. He used to describe himself as a spotted cow and laugh about it because he had like blotchy legs and so on. But yeah, when he died, it was confirmed they found creams he used to put on and stuff to keep it at bay. The downside to that is he had no pigmentation in his skin and he was at risk of skin cancer, hence why you see lots of pictures of me holding umbrellas over him. And he used to love water parks and things, so he hated that element. But he's very proud of his heritage. He loved being a black American, but unfortunately, it runs in his family. He had vitiligo, and that's it. I know people want to make a big deal out of it.
No.
He used to say all the time, why are people so fascinated by my skin color?
Yeah.
So you guys lay out in the sun until you go dark.
Yeah.
And spend a fortune on suntan creams to go dark quick. But when Michael Jackson changes, everyone's got a problem. He couldn't understand it. He thought he felt real unchanged. Actually, since then, there's been famous models who've got vitiligo who...
Yeah. I know the one.
Yeah.
I know the one. Yeah, she got it on her face.
I think now,
Yeah.
in 2024, they would believe him.
Yeah.
They just didn't believe him back then. He used to go on Oprah Winfrey, no one believed anything he would say.
Yeah. The point where I was like, come on, like now you're just pranking everyone, is he's black. He's got black genes.
Yeah.
And he has sex with a white woman.
Yeah.
And the kids come out white. You're telling me there's a baby that's half black, half white, and they come out white? Then I'm like, come on. They're not really your kids.
I never had the conversation with
Did you ever
him.
think of that?
Of course.
Because the kids have got blue eyes. If they're Michael Jackson's kids, and then Michael Jackson's comes from black genes, black genes, how can the kids come out blue eyes and blonde hair?
Yeah, obviously I know his nephews and nieces and his brothers too. But at the end of the day, right, Michael was the most amazing dad ever.
Yeah.
Whether they're biological his or not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, that guy would stop everything.
Yeah.
And I would witness him. There's a famous story once where I had a phone call from President Clinton and he wanted to speak to Michael, and Michael was on the phone. He was on loudspeaker, and so I went to Michael and said, Michael, President Clinton's on the phone. He said, no, I'm reading bedtime stories to my children. They were in New York and we were in London. We couldn't bring them to London because there was a ransom put on their heads by the paparazzi for £1 million. So they were a target. So he had to leave them, but he was devastated. So he spent, I ain't joking, like 4 or 5 hours reading stories to his kids over a loudspeaker phone and told President Clinton to do one and they'll get back to him in his own time. That's how committed a father he was.
Wow.
So, biological, what the hell? I mean, it doesn't make a difference. That guy treated those kids like unbelievable. He put me to shame as a dad.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
dad.
yeah, of course.
The last 10 years of his life, it's all about his children.
Yeah.
The only time I saw Michael happy was when he was with Prince
his kids.
Paris Blanket or on stage.
Out of all the people, like you mentioned Bill Clinton and stuff like that, who's like the biggest person you met with Michael? Did you meet Princess Diana?
No, I was too young for that one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He used to talk about her. He loved Diana, man. He wanted to marry her. He was in love with Diana. Yeah.
Because they used to have like secret phone calls at night.
Yeah. He used to be on the phone for hours on end. He used to tell me about his cheeky little phone calls to Princess Diana.
Really?
It's quite funny because King Charles, as he's now known, so Diana went to Michael's concerts and Michael met Prince William and Harry when they were little. And he really wanted to reconnect with them. And Prince Harry was at the Cheltenham races and he came up and said hi to me and he said, look, could you make it happen? I'm like, sure. We'll make it happen at some point. We'll get Michael to meet you and your brother, as in Prince William. And Harry went off and he was walking away, a bit drunk, like he is. He's one of the lads. And I don't think nothing really came of that. But then a few years later, we had a member of parliament who contacted us because Michael really wanted to be Sir Michael Jackson. He felt he's done enough to the world. He's the biggest donator for charities of all time, 750 million, I believe. Nobody wants to print that, but that's the fact, the Guinness Book of Records. And he felt he's done enough for the biggest selling albums to be knighted as Michael Jackson. The only issue is he's not English, but they knighted Steven Spielberg apparently, like an honorary one. So this member of parliament, he was a lord. He kind of convinced Michael that he can make it happen, and that Prince Charles at the time wanted to meet him and William and Harry. So he flew into London on that basis. and we had a private tour of the Houses of Parliament and so on. But something wasn't quite right. I could tell that, because I was expecting the Prime Minister to be there and he wasn't there. He was there, but he went as soon as we arrived. And I could see something wasn't quite right. And I got in the car after, and like Michael was like, "Are we going to see Prince Harry and William?" And he said, the Lord said, I won't say his name, but the guy who was trying to arrange it said, "Oh, Prince Charles would like to meet you, and Harry and William more so. We're just trying to organise it." And then literally a couple of days later, I had a fax come through. I wish I kept it. And it was basically, in a nutshell, Prince Charles put a stop to Michael Jackson meeting Prince William and Harry. Yeah.
Probably on the basis of him flirting with Diana.
Probably on the basis that Michael was flirting with his wife, yeah. It's like Tito used to say, "You want to see if my brother's into children? All that nonsense, you go and leave your wife or your girlfriend at Neverland with my brother Michael.
Yeah.
They all fall in love with him and he'll charm him, and you'll never see him again."
Yeah.
You know? It's such a lot of nonsense, all this flipping child, kiddie fiddling, ridiculous stuff. But anyway, they got to throw him something big at him, don't they? He's either murder or kiddie fiddling.
Sure.
You see it happen to so many people now, and that's the worst thing they could have thrown at him, because it's his love of innocence and...
Sure. I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. This is how I see it. This is how my brain works, right? Because before meeting you, speaking to you, I also had the notion of he was a kiddie fiddler, right? I was thinking like, oh yeah, okay, so too many people have come out. When there's smoke, there's fire, right? And also on top of that, if you want to impress women, what do? You buy a nice house, you buy a mansion, you have a Lamborghini, you have you know, a Ferrari or whatever, right? And you're like, okay, awesome, girls are checking me out, I'm the guy. But if you want to impress kids, what do? Hey, you want to see a monkey? I got a monkey at my house. I got Neverland. I got rides. I got elephants. Come and bring the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to impress kids, that's how you impress kids. That's like kind of like a flex in the kids' world. And obviously that was a little bit strange. I mean, you know, somebody at that level of fame and everything, what they do is they buy mansions and jets and cars and whatever. They don't make a circus in their house. They don't make a zoo. So that's why in my mind I was like, that's a little bit strange.
And I get that. I always say, I'll be the first person if a guy who appeared to be single moved next to me and started importing giraffes and elephants and was rumoured to have kids there staying. I'll be on the phone to the police, of course I would.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that Neverland was not his home as such. He built that for organisations like Make-A-Wish Foundation. Over 10,000 children a year used to be bussed into there. And we used to have this joke with Michael. Michael was never at Neverland. He was much happier being at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. He had the Michael Jackson suite there, where he's access to everything. He had the layer of hotel security. He could do his meetings. Neverland was 3.5 hours out. He hated the drive. He didn't want to be there, and so forth. But he built that to help sick children. So if you went to the movie theatre at Neverland, you see all these glass, and then behind the glass you'll see hospital beds with drips there. So he built that to give back, because he's such a nice guy. But
the media make it sound like that's his home.
Man, I remember once there was this story about Michael's secret sex chamber room in his office bedroom, and basically it's his panic room. With any billionaire or multimillionaire or famous person, they all have these panic rooms, right? It's not uncommon. I'm sure there's many people in Dubai who've got panic rooms. People break in your premises, you get told to go there.
There's no crime here, by the way.
There's no crime in Dubai.
No. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, well, you don't get raised to believe that, but once you get here, you really understand it's true.
There's no crime,
Yeah. So we had this panic room, and I helped speak out, because I got annoyed by this story, because the media was saying secret sex chamber. So when he bought the ranch, it was called Sycamore Valley, and there was a room attached to his bedroom, and it was a panic room. He didn't put it there, and it was just things were put in there to keep him entertained, because people used to parachute into Neverland in the hope to meet Michael Jackson. Like, I didn't realise this was Michael Jackson. You had to bump into him, you know. And then the alarms would be hit, and he had to run to his panic room. Yeah, but they twist the narrative.
Yeah.
But I mean, they knew he was into women. I remember one big famous publication, after that stupid documentary came out a few years ago, was proven to be complete and utter nonsense. And a big publication called me and said, "Matt, can we have your statement on the documentary?" And I said, "Listen, why do you want to talk to me? Why don't you just speak to his girlfriends? They publish books. You know, why don't you ring them? Because, yeah, we know about them, but it goes against the narrative. So it won't get clickbait, it won't work. I just put the phone down, forget it, waste my time.
They will tell you straight up that.
Yeah. They knew he was into women. They had to, they're following us everywhere we went.
Yeah. I hear he was a big womanizer.
Massively, yeah.
Big womanizer, right?
He loved it. We used to sit in the back of cars like this, and he used to call his code for women was fish.
Yeah.
We got footage of this as well, and he'd be like, I like that fish. Can you bring that fish to my room? And and also like on the Martin Bashir documentary, if you turn up the volume, like the fans would beg Michael to have a hug, and there was one particular girl who he fancied. He said, Michael, can I have a hug? I said, sure, you can have a hug. And if you turn it up, as he hugs, he said, I'll give you more than a hug, you know? But Martin Bashir talks over, hoping you won't hear that. It goes against the narrative. But I think people are kind of seeing through all this now.
Sure.
All this, as Andrew Tate would call it, the Matrix attack, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it was that.
Negative news will go wild. Anything positive won't.
Sure, of
Michael
course.
giving 750 million and being Guinness Book of Records to the biggest charity donate of all time don't make news. Him being high as a kite dangling a baby over a balcony will go wild. Or him having a different nose, or making it look like he's got a different nose, putting sticky tape on his face, goes quite crazy. And he understood the value of that.
And him being a pedophile would make news. Bad news travels faster than good news.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? That's interesting. So yeah, I hear like some people saying like he was a big womanizer, like
one time, right?
threesomes and stuff. Like that crazy?
I don't know about that, man, but he had a lot of women in his freaking room. I used to joke around with him because the previous bodyguard to me, he said, the stuff I used to have to over here. When people say Michael's into little boys, I said, I was with him when he was with Lisa Marie Presley, Matt, and it's like, I ain't joking you, they were like banging day and night. And they'd be like, hee hee, oh. You know, if they had a kid, it would have been something else together. I don't know where all this stuff comes from. It's just, easiest way to attack him, but no, he loved his women and
Did you pick up women with him? Were you like wingmanning him, like take the friend?
We would help him get the woman's secret into his room and then get her out. Yeah. People find that hard to believe, don't they? But that's the truth, you know. And the thing is with me, right? I got one of the biggest children's organisations in the world. Why the hell would I hang out with a guy and support him for a high-profile trial on counts of child molestation? I knew the real deal. I knew Michael, what he was like. I wouldn't associate myself to something like that. I defend him now, even though he's dead. I've got no reason to have to speak positive. In fact, I can make a lot of money if I talk negative about him. But there's nothing to say. There is no dirt on Michael. Michael was just a media manipulator. I remember one time when we talked about these publicity stunts, I really fell for it. In England, every Sunday, we'd have this big newspaper called The News of the World. And I used to go and pick it up. Good excuse to take my Ferrari out, go down to the petrol station, and then literally, my friend Michael was on the front page of every single newspaper, and he had like plasters, like post-it notes all over his face, and he was pictured with his kids at a bookstore. I thought, geez, what's happened? I hope he's okay. And people were ringing me saying, have you checked on him? And I fell for it. I thought I'd better check on him. And it's all around the world. So I checked in with Australia, and they said, yep, he's front page everywhere over here. He looks like he's not well. So I was worried about his mental health. So I called him up. I got him on the phone relatively easily. And he goes, Matt, so Mike said, Matt, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. What's up? So mate, you're everywhere. You're every front page in the world with like plasters all over your face. Yeah. I was shaving. I promised the children I'd take them to the bookstore. I didn't want to let them down. I was shaving. I cut my chin. I couldn't stop it bleeding, so I put a plaster on it. Then I realised there's so much paparazzi outside. They're going to say my chin's fallen off. So I thought, what the hell? So I just covered my face in post-it notes. And it worked. I said, you okay? He goes, yeah. You fall into my trap too, didn't you? And I came off the phone, I felt like such an idiot.
Wow.
Yeah, he was behind it. Yeah, he constructed it. He came out looking crazy as he could.
Yeah.
And it made world media. Billions of dollars of publicity you couldn't buy.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
If you like this video, consider subscribing. We do weekly podcasts with experts in every industry to help you find direction and guide you on your way. Now let's get back into it. What was his relationship like with his family?
It's like he's very close with his mum.
Okay.
He was very. I remember having a conversation with him about his mum, and he was very fearful of when he would lose his mum, how he would ever take that. He was very, very close to his mum, You got to remember, Michael was on tour a lot, and he was traveling. He would literally, we'll check into one hotel 2 days later, then we'll go again. There's always a suitcase packed up for him ready to go. So you'd all trying to get hold of him. He'd be all over the place. So it was very on-off, I would say, with his family. But then when he needed them, they would be there. Like through the trial, they were there every single day. Even his dad was there every single day.
Yeah.
But he had people in his ear saying, your family want you to be back with the Jackson 5. You know, your brothers aren't doing very well. And they're only trying to get near you because they want you to be Jackson 5 again and tour the world again. And sometimes he would fall for it, when in fact, his brothers had nothing but good wishes for him. They wanted to embrace him and get him out of these situations and look after him. You know, so they went to great efforts to try and what's the word, intervene, an intervention to get him away from the medications and the bad circle he was in. But he would just push him out because people were in his ear all the time. I would try and encourage it for him to be with his brothers because they were great for him, like, you know. But yeah, unfortunately, when you get that famous, you just don't trust anyone.
So there was a bit of tension with the brothers.
I won't say there was tension. They were concerned about Michael,
and he didn't know who to trust.
Yeah, they were concerned about their little brother, you know, and what the hell was going on. They were hearing things, and the fans would tell them stories and stuff, and they were concerned. It's deeply concerned about it, and they wanted to get their brother back in their fold again to protect him. Whereas Michael would see it or be told, oh, they just want to be Jackson 5 again. They want you to tour the world. But it was not the case. I mean, they were worried about Michael, you know, and whenever I used to speak to him, I'm like, is he okay? Is he eating good? Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, they just, like families. So you got to remember too, every single Jackson has their own manager and publicist, and
Sure.
It's one.
Oh,
big,
that's hard.
Yeah, you got people in their ears.
That's hard.
Yeah, and he was the biggest. So you imagine too. It was interesting when I could walk around with Jermaine or Tito, and people will come up and say, "You're Michael Jackson's brother. You really Michael Jackson's brother?" Yeah, I am. And I think they're like, "Oh, I'm famous in my own right too, Matt." They never recognise it. And when I would be with his mum, because his mum used to come and stay with me in Devon, and we'd walk around, people would come up and say, "Are you Michael Jackson's mum?" So yeah, but she's also mother to Janet and Jane, Jackie, and Tito, and it was interesting. And I was with Tito once in Devon, and someone came up to him and goes, "Is Michael Jackson's mum here?" He goes, "Yeah, she's here." He said, "You do know she's my mum too." You know, it's funny how he just overshone everything, but yeah.
That's funny.
He understood it. He understood. I think in the early years, I didn't think he knew how famous he was, but towards the end, I knew he knew he was the he was the man. And go back to the women's thing once. We were in Las Vegas, and yeah, time to talk about it, right? But it's one of P. Diddy's famous parties, and Michael never goes to parties. He's not into that scene. But he had a crush on Beyonce. He really fancied Beyonce. He thought he had a chance, right? So he heard Beyonce was at this party. So we turn up. Mark comes with us. We turn up at the door. They couldn't believe it was Michael, the bodyguards. And in the end, P. Diddy come out. And saw Michael, let us in, and he sat down to him, and he said, he whispered in his ear, and he said, "Is Beyonce here?" And she just left. And that was it. Michael was gone. We were back to the hotel again.
He was there for what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, he was there like 10 minutes. As soon as he found out Beyonce was gone, he said, "I want to tap her ass, man."
Is that what he said?
Yeah. And whenever he get like asked for awards to be given to him, because all the time people were trying to give him World Award, this award, and he'd always request, "I'll take the award as long as Beyonce presents it to me." Wow. He had this mad crush on Beyonce.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, with the whole P. Diddy thing, did you see anything? Or no, nothing like that?
Just another example, innit? I was talking to my wife about it the other day, where we're in England, we watched his house get raided on live news, and dear me. So here we go again. Another one, you know? It's just mad, isn't it? You get too powerful, too rich, and they just want to bring you down. It's wrong, this whole trial by media. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. Because that guy now is never going to recover from this. No. Michael never recovered from it.
No, Michael was a prime example.
He was the first.
He was the first. And he was the biggest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to stop. It's enough of it now.
You know, going back to family, it's so hard to have a normal family relationship. right? Especially like when you've got managers in your ear, he's getting too big, he's getting too small, whatever. It's so hard to have that, like I saw your family today, right? Loving whatever all together.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're loving too, but it's just hard when you got people in his ear, his manager saying your brother's trying to do this, and people trying to pin each other off against each other. Any issue you have goes into the media.
Yeah.
Like it'd just be such a hard family relation just to be able to control.
I have it just on my scale, which is nothing, not even comparison to Michael Jackson, flipping heck. But with my wealth creation and my success and my profile, I have nothing to do with my siblings. Not because I don't want to, because it's the same reasons. It's like, for a start, you don't have a lot in common, and you grow apart, and whether there's jealousy or not, I don't know, but they're getting asked about you all the time. They're getting asked about Michael Jackson all the time, I'd imagine. And you drift apart. I see a lot of successes too, where successful people, where they don't have a relationship with their immediate family like they did when they're growing up. Like, I'd love to have a relationship with my younger brothers, but in reality, it would be very difficult to do. And you do grow apart. I mean, it's true to say. When the grandparents pass away, your parents pass away, and everyone gets married and stuff. And I'll do anything for my family. If they turn up on my door and are in trouble, but I kind of created my family from within. I've got 6 children, and I probably won't stop there. I'll probably have another one. And that's all that really matters. You know, all this money stuff and the Lamborghinis and the mansions. And I mean, I've seen everything, haven't I, at the highest level. When it comes down to it, when you strip it all back, all that matters is your health and your family. Everything else is complete and utter nonsense.
Do you think somebody that has no kids, has no wife, is a very lonely man?
Yeah, so we go back to Michael again. I was asked to go and see him. He was in his hotel suite and he was crying. Now bear in mind, we had like thousands of fans outside. We're in Germany, chanting his name day and night.
Is this the same moment where the baby thing
No,
happened?
it was another incident. We were in Munich at this time.
Okay.
He was going to perform that night, just doing half an hour. And they said, can you go and see Mr. Jackson, is what they referred to him as. So I go in there, I said, Mike, what's wrong? And the curtains had to be drawn. It was very dark because the paparazzi would try and get pictures. And he was sat there crying. I said, what's wrong? I said, I just want to be successful, Matt. I was like, Mike, you kidding me? Like, you got the biggest selling album of all time. You got 80,000 people to perform to tonight. You got everyone who's anyone's here to support you. Thousands of fans outside. And you're not to think you're successful? Nah, I want to beat Thriller.
I want to what?
He said he wanted to beat Thriller. His biggest competition was himself. He had no one else to compete against. So he was fascinated with getting an album to beat Thriller. The issue he had is that we were starting to enter the whole download era. And will.i.am was trying to get him to embrace digital downloads, and he didn't want to embrace that. He wanted the record. He didn't want to embrace this new technology. He wanted to literally have an album that's bigger than Thriller. That was his goal. And he tried hard, and when he didn't, success to him would be 100 million copies, whereas an average pop star, 5, 6, 7 million copies, they'd be happy, you know. So when he released Invincible, he was devastated. Yeah, it was number 1 all around the world, but he was nowhere near Thriller's level of success. But he was crying, and one of my friends asked him, he said, are you a lonely man, Michael? And he said, yeah, I'm a very lonely man. Yeah, extremely lonely. Sat there all on his own. I remember one night, whenever we used to leave the city, me and his entourage used to go downstairs to the bar and we used to socialise. And one of them pointed out, saying, we're all having a great time here, but there's one guy missing. So who? Michael's up in the hotel suite on his own. He can't come down here because he's too famous because the public won't leave him alone. So we all went upstairs and joined him in his hotel suite. He was over the moon. He was sat there watching Bart Simpson on his own in his pyjamas, and we all came in his hotel suite because we recognised that he's the only one who couldn't walk around and couldn't come downstairs and hang out with us. Yeah.
He was in prison, a luxury prison.
Yeah. It was not even a luxury prison, man. You become used to your own surroundings, like we talked about the cars earlier on.
Yeah.
When you first get this car, you probably thought, I'm never going to eat in this thing, and in the end you find yourself eating in it, and same with the Lambos, after a week or two it becomes normal, doesn't it? So for him, normality was these presidential suites. To get to the presidential suites, we have to go through the most awful lifts and kitchen areas and
smelly lifts, and the kitchen area and
garbage
everything.
lifts and stuff, and he couldn't come through the front entrance because it was mayhem.
Wow.
He didn't want people to know he was there most of the time too. He wanted his privacy. So yeah, there's no luxury.
So obviously you've seen a lot. You've talked to a lot of people. You've met a lot of people. So it all strips back down to family and having kids. So you think without family or having kids, a man is very lonely.
Yeah. Now the money thing is important. People say money doesn't matter. It's normally probably because they're broke. They never experienced it. I've been very poor, living out of bed sits, and I've been very rich, and I prefer being very rich. Money buys you freedom, buys you time to spend with your kids, private health care. Don't have to worry about lockdowns and all that stuff. You're okay. Whenever I was freaking out about money, I don't have to worry about that. You can help charities out with money. You can pay for people's operations. I lost my mother to breast cancer when she was 56. I was 32, and I like to do it behind the scenes. I pay for women to have, operations for breast cancer, breast removal and so on. And other things too, like I get phone calls all the time. I'm sure you have done, where kids die and the dream is to drive in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. I raced to the hospice. I had one recently where a mum was dying and her dream was to see her car be in a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. I dropped everything and went there, and she witnessed it just in time before she passed away at the local hospice. It's very hard to do all that stuff if you're poor. So it's not so much money doesn't make you happy. Money is not a tool. Money is not a like if you have a hammer, you can use a hammer to hit a nail, be constructive, or you can use it to kill someone. Where money it's not a thing. It's a tool to, it can be used in good or bad. Or whatever you are, it's either going to make you a better person or a bad person. But it's important to earn money to be financially independent. I think everyone's right should be financially independent. That's what I try and do now. I try and teach people to become money freedom, and I have thousands of entrepreneurs which I mentor to teach them how to do 6-7 figure income profit, not gross, and build a big property portfolio so they got passive income in, so money works for them, they don't work for money. But I think you need to sort their money side out. The health needs to be number one, obviously. You've got to be the richest man in the graveyard, and the relationship stuff all falls into place at that level. People go out the wrong angle. They go out like the school system teach you, where you get good qualifications, go to college, go to university. That's great if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, or an accountant. But if you really want to be successful, you need to observe the masses and do the opposite. And you don't work to get a pension and retiring when you're 65 or 70 and have arthritis and travel around the world a bit and die. You're here to live, not just to exist. And you've got to literally do the opposite as what the world indoctrinates you to do, and then you'll be successful. And that's what I dedicate my life to do now, to teach people to break out that 9-to-5 cycle, and you can do you turn your passion into your profession, just like I did. And you don't need to take it as far as I did. I believe the new £1 million is 10 million, and that's all you need. I know people say, oh, that's a lot of money, but it's harder to be broke than it is to be rich. It's much harder to be broke.
Very true.
And you're just not taught this stuff at school.
Choose your pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Choose your pain.
Well, do you know this whole thing Tony Robbins talks about, that the human body wants to move away from pain and go towards pleasure?
Yeah.
Successful people need to move towards pain.
Yeah.
Just like when you go to the gym, you want to build muscle, you need to put your muscles under tension. If you want to be successful, you need to do the things your body doesn't want to do. Work the hours doesn't want to do. You got to change your mindset and think against other people. Upgrade your circle of friends. It's so important. So they're the things I've learned the most.
Would you choose to be a poor man with a family and kids, or a rich man with no family and kids?
If I could choose,
you have to choose.
I
want to know what
I would know what I know now, what I've been through, the losses in my family, and there's some things I would correct that I let maybe my ego get in the way. But I don't beat myself up about it, because when you're in your early 20s and you've got this crazy life, you're going to be a bit different, cocky, aren't you?
Of course.
So when my brothers may look at me and think, I might have been harsh to them, I can't remember, I don't know. It wasn't normal, and plus they're younger than me, so they would have been early 20s when I was a multi-millionaire. So I did this TV show in the UK, right? It's called Rich House, Poor House. And you exchange homes. So they live in my mansion, and I live in a government-funded assisted house, council house, we call it in the UK.
I know that show. Were you on that show?
I've been on twice, yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't want to do it, but I thought it'd be great for my children because they've all lived in these incredible homes.
Yeah.
And it's to give them a chance to understand the real life, what people have to go humble them a little bit. So they lived in my home. They drove my Bentley and everything at the time. I didn't know where I was going. We went to this, I won't say rough, but it was a tough estate, council estate in the UK. And we lived in a council house. And it was terraced house, so you had noises coming in from the neighbours, and my kids aren't used to hearing voices through the doors or nothing. And I had to live off their budget, and they had to live off a great budget. They basically could have what they want. And I was driving their little car, and
for how long?
8 days.
Okay.
And I had to do his night shift, and my wife, she had to emulate his wife. His wife had a disability, so she couldn't walk or anything. So my wife just basically had to sit on the sofa and not to do much. I had to do the cooking and the cleaning. I can't cook, man. Cleaning the toilets, everything, do all the chores, and yeah. And that was an experience. But what I came to learn from that TV show, going back to your question, is that my children were just as happy with little plastic toys without all the iPads and technology, having their daddy present. No mobile phones were allowed either. They were more happy having me that week, and at the end of it, also I didn't get to see the cutaways until the program went out. My daughters were saying, it's great to have our daddy back. This TV show made us have our daddy back. I was like, wow, unbelievable. Because the 5-star hotels, the holidays, everything else, the Ferraris and Lambos, Bentleys, they don't mean nothing. They just want my time. So while this other family were going to Fort Park, a big entertainment park, it's like £500-600 to get the family in. I was going to a graffiti-filled slide and swing, and my kids were just happy just having me there. So I would choose my wife and my children
over money. You'd rather be a poor man with wife and kids than be a rich man with no.
I've been a rich man, and it's out there, and I don't mind talking about it because I think every entrepreneur should talk about their downside as well as their good side. I have been a rich man. I've been lonely. I got divorced in 2009, and then weekends going back to the mansion. Friday to the Monday, not seeing anyone, not trusting anyone. Ferrari on the drive, latest Mercedes, and 30 million in the bank, and trying to commit suicide. I was so lonely.
No way.
On antidepressants, on sleeping tablets, walking around that mansion 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I can answer that as I've had an experience. I've been a lonely rich man.
Did you actually try to commit suicide, or was it the suicidal thoughts?
No, I went for it.
You went for it?
Clearly, I wasn't very good at it. Well, I tried 3 times, with sleeping medication and stuff. And
clearly wasn't good for it.
I had a great support network. I mean, my franchisees are like my family. They are my family. I mean, a lot of them have been with me like 22, 23 years. One of them has been with me 25 years. So all my adult life, I've known these people. I spent more time with them than my own family. So they were all, to be fair, they all got me through it and rallied me through it. But everything went wrong in 2009. I remember once my business partner from Germany, I was driving him back to the airport for Matt Fiddes, Germany. And he said, everything you touch at the moment, Matt, turns to gold. That can't go on forever. Something's going to go wrong. I was like, oh, Lance, don't be silly. It's all going to be like this. I had my latest Ferrari, the 360 Spider. Remember that one? Just came out. And then literally a couple of years later, everything went wrong. In 2009, Michael Jackson died, and I fell out with one of my siblings, and he tried to do like a business like mine, trying to recreate what I did. I felt that way. My best friend sat with him. My dad went with him too, like trying to compete against me. And my wife wanted a divorce. Michael died. And then Mum calls up and said, I've got 6 months to live. I've got breast cancer. All in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had never used to any of this. And the doctors just don't know what to do with you. So they just stick you on antidepressants. I had 2 types of antidepressants and put me on Valium and sleeping tablets. And that wasn't the way to deal with it. And trying to meet a new girl when you're
going through all that.
When you're Matt Fiddes in the UK, and they stick your name in Google, and they come to you with this preconceived idea what you're about. And halfway through the date, a text message flicks up on her phone. It's a picture of Michael Jackson, one of her friends has sent. You can't get away from it. It's just, it was tough. I had to go to South Africa to find my wife.
She's beautiful, by the way, your wife. I don't think you'd be able to find a decent wife, anyways, in the UK the way it's going.
I dated lots of girls, but it was difficult because I'm not normal. I totally get that, and I'll be prejudged. And if you want to read everything in Google about me, a lot of the stuff I'm behind anyway, that's media stories, because I had the greatest teacher in Michael about how to manipulate media. But yeah, they you know, people don't understand people who have got that drive and ability. And I do believe in the law of attraction. I can't explain my life any other way. And when I stopped looking for a girlfriend after my divorce, it happened. You know?
That's always why.
When I stopped looking.
Yeah.
We have this saying in the martial, when a teacher's ready, the student will appear. And they're saying, I wasn't ready. You know, when I was ready, then I had a phone call from my media agent that said, we need to get you out of the UK. Your mum's dying. The media are on you all the time. And something's going to give. You're going through this divorce. Just finished, the divorce did. I'm going to South Africa. I've got a client who's a pop star, who's on tour out there. Come and hang out at the hotel for a few weeks, get your head straight. My mum had like months to live. And she was my rock. And the idea was I would sit by the swimming pool. And I got there, and his client's bodyguards wanted to meet Michael Jackson's bodyguard. But Michael passed away by about 3 years by this point. So these big black dudes come in, are massive, you know. And they're expecting me to be a big black dude too, I think.
Yeah.
And they want pictures done stuff, so I did the pictures. Then I met the pop star, who was his client, who he's on tour with, who's now my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my friends were horrified, mate. I went out there to escape everything. I came back engaged 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Got married 3 months later again.
Yeah. No, she's lovely.
She gets me. She understands entertainment. She understands it.
And also, she's got a very calm energy.
And the culture's different. The Afrikaans culture, there's no sex before marriage. It's different for me. I mean, I was going freaking with celebrities on the first night and everything. That's what I was used to.
Yeah.
So there's no sex before marriage. There's no dating, anything like that. It was either you're going to marry the daughter or not. And we don't spend a night apart. So in the 13 years we've been together, other than our baby's been born, we're together day and night. That's the way it works, that culture. You know? And people take the mick out of me about it, but it works. You know, it works. We're together day and night. And
no, not at all. I podcasted with Zubi. I'm not sure if you know who Zubi is. He podcasted with Elon Musk, been on Joe Rogan 2-3 times. It's very philosophical. He could start a revolution if he wanted to. He's the same thing. He's currently with a girl, no sex before marriage. Yeah. And he says, look, statistically, the more sex you have with a girl, or a girl has sex with a guy, the less likely it is that they will be in a relationship that they can stay together long term, because they've always got something to compare to. And also, it's like a tape. When you keep retaping something, when you take a piece of tape and you stick it to something, after a certain time, it's going to stop sticking.
Yeah.
Right? So it goes against logic. That's what he said to me. He goes, of course it goes against logic not to live with someone and not to have sex before marriage. You want to understand the person, but it actually works.
It works, man. We don't argue or nothing. And do you know, most people argue about their exes and stuff. Well, she ain't got any. So people find it weird that we're together day and night and never apart. I don't want to be apart from Monique.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. We are a unit. We work well with each other. She understands fully. Plus, she's an incredible stepmom to my 3 older children.
Yeah.
We don't do the half brother, half sister thing.
Yeah.
And the culture thing in England, we've lost.
Yes.
It's all mixed up.
Yes.
And I think with her, she understands that what I bring to the family and what I have to react to at 11 o'clock at night sometimes.
Yeah.
My first wife, to be fair to her, she's wonderful. She's an amazing mum to my daughters, but she didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
She just wanted someone to watch TV at night time.
At night.
Chill out, not an ambitious guy.
Order a curry.
Yeah, yeah. When are you going to stop? Yeah, have a pint of lager or something.
You know?
Not flipping.
Yeah.
Keep earning your next million, and hanging out with Michael Jackson. She didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
She's happily married now, and her husband Jamie, he comes and he's got a maintenance company. He does work for my property portfolio, and
beautiful.
We get on great. But
Good.
culture is important. But no, it does work. The no sex before marriage thing
works. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I respected her culture too. I went through the whole baptism and
beautiful
before we got married and stuff. And
listen, I think this is Zubi said this as well, but he said if the West loses Christianity, that's the end of the West.
But it's dying. The churches are empty.
Yeah. What I love about here is you can have your fun, but they've also got God.
Yeah.
Right? While if you go to Vegas, there's no God.
Yeah.
right? You can have your fun, you can go out and you can have a drink and you can talk to the ladies, whatever, but there's no God. Here they have both.
Yeah.
They still are, that's why there's no crime.
Yeah. It's
Because
incredible,
they're God-fearing people. People that live here. Listen, I've been here 1 year and 4 months, right? And I'm talking to expats from Manchester, England, this, that. They're all doing Ramadan. White girls, blue eyes, Christian, born Christian, everything. But they're still doing Ramadan because it's like this culture of God-fearing and law-abiding and everything. It's contagious.
I think in England we got the wrong impression about Islam, haven't we?
Yeah.
And the Muslim culture.
Yeah,
We just
yeah. And media again. Media
It's
with the
media,
9/11.
Yeah.
They're all terrorists.
Terrorist
They're all
attacks, yeah,
dangerous. You know, that's media again.
Yeah.
Listen, nobody knows the media game more than you. Better than you,
Yeah.
right?
Some of the nicest people I meet. I mean, 80% of my student base are Muslim.
Wow.
Yeah. Christianity in the UK is dying. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. All the churches are empty. They're being sold off and redeveloped. And
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah. Same as Australia. All the churches are becoming
Yeah.
childcares,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Now you go to South Africa, where my wife's from. Everywhere is Christianity.
Really
Yeah. Everywhere.
interesting. How much are you worth now?
So a couple of years ago, lockdown was a bit of a challenge for me. I in a weird way, I kind of enjoyed it because I had to take thousands of students across multiple schools
Online.
online within 24 hours.
Yeah. I went through that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it was like watching the stock market
Yeah.
crash
Yeah.
slowly. We tried everything to bring members in, and
Yeah.
didn't really work.
Yeah. No.
So it's all about retention
Yeah.
of my student base for the Matt Fiddes martial arts schools, and we did well because all our, I won't say competitors, but people who are out there. My competitors is not the other martial arts schools because they can't compete with us. It's the other after school activities like swimming and soccer, football, whatever, rugby and so on. So we did well, but before I went into lockdown, they calculated my worth for this TV show, Rich House Poor House. We have Ofcom where you have to submit your accounts and your property portfolio. They came to a figure of about 30 million of what they reported that I was worth. Afterwards, I was on a mission, man. I was like, this is my baby. My business is my baby. These franchisees are my family. I'm not going to let this damn thing, whatever you think of it, I won't say the word because it will probably get shadow banned. Whatever you think of the lockdown and the calls for it is beside the point. But coming out of it, I had this hunger in my belly, just like what I did when I was 17, 18, wanted to prove the bullies wrong again. So I wanted to come back. So we came out, we weren't sure, were people going to return to classes? So my franchisees didn't want to advertise. They didn't want to spend their money. They held all their money to their chest thinking no one's going to want to come to classes. They're going to be scared to catch this thing still, right? When we were finally released from this lockdown. So I thought, what the hell? So I spent hundreds of thousands of my own money, went for it, when no one else would, doing what others don't. But what the heck? Got nothing to lose, don't need the money, got my properties there. They were booming, by the way. No issue there at all. And we went from 30 million valuation to 120 million valuation in a year. And I won Entrepreneur of the Year 2022, Franchisor of the Year 2022. And it was all based on me submitting my accounts and business accounts. It's a real award show, not one of these ones where you just turn up and get an award where you get analysed, there's a big panel and so forth. Yeah, and I was very proud of that. Because up until that point, I was quite complacent and chilled out.
Yeah.
Lockdown woke me up. And now the franchises are making a fortune and it's bigger than it's ever been. And I'm as hungry as I've ever been now, but for different reasons. For me now, it's about teaching people how to create generational wealth. Because I think there will be more pandemics, lockdowns, global warming issues, reasons that you need to stay at home and can't go out, fear-mongering. And I want to make sure that my children, my grandkids and great-grandkids are all looked after financially. So that's what I teach people now. And my franchisees know now too that it's okay to talk about money now.
Yeah.
Because what happened there in 2020.
So are you the sole director of the franchise?
I'm the franchisor.
You don't have any
me.
business. It's just
No,
you. Okay.
me and my wife.
How much is that worth?
The franchise business itself.
Yeah, you're the franchisor. It's your
Yeah.
name. Everybody are franchisees.
Yeah.
How much is the franchise
I
or
wouldn't
mother
know
company
how you
worth?
could put a price on that.
But you said it was worth 30 mil before then.
Oh, this
now,
is my personal. This is what they did personal
oh,
net worth.
personal net worth, sure.
Yeah, which they came at 120
Sure.
million. That's included in my property portfolio.
Sure. Got ya.
So to sell that
Probably
brand,
$250 million now?
it's got to be the brand. If I was to sell it, yeah.
$250 million. And that's pounds.
I got people offering crazy money who own other big fitness brands who want
Sure.
to own my sector.
Sure.
I want to buy us out and incorporate, but I'll never do that. It's my baby.
Sure. And is that pounds?
That's pounds, yeah.
That's pounds. So you're minted.
Yeah, I guess so, but once you get past a certain level, you know what it's like. Nothing changes, does it?
No, but that's exactly.
It's nonsense. The stress increases.
Yeah.
but nothing
Andrew
changes.
Tate always says, and we were referring to Andrew Tate here, and a few times, and he always says, "How many $10,000 steaks can I have? Vodka's cheap, like."
There's always something
You know what I mean?
I did a podcast recently. They asked me, did anything change? No, past 10 million. Unless you want a private jet or a yacht, which is stupid, you just hire those damn things if you want to do that.
Yeah. But I like first class.
Yeah, if you want to do first. When you've got 6 kids, this is a different experience, though.
So do you charter a private jet?
No, if I was gonna take all 6 away, it would probably make sense to do like a European trip. But no, I just try to travel normal most of the time. If me and my wife travel, we'll go first class maybe, but that's just a waste of money. You sleep most of the time.
Yeah.
I like to sleep
Yeah.
on long journeys.
When you flew here from South Africa?
No, I flew here from England.
From England?
And I wasn't first class, no.
No.
I just came normal.
Economy?
Economy, yeah.
And you're worth $250 million
Yeah, I
with the
just
family?
slept the whole time, yeah.
Oh.
People respect that. When they like
Yeah.
recognise you and stuff, they're like, oh, you're cool, man. You're one of us.
But
And-
you're so tall.
Yeah. Well,
You need to go to business.
it's okay on the Emirates planes, though. No issue. If we're talking
Yeah.
about another European plane, it might be different.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It's a waste of money.
That's interesting that you did that.
Well, I got a
'Cause this is the
5-year-old, so I can't have first class and a 5-year-old sat on first class. I'm not having that.
No, but here's the thing.
Her head's going to be messed up.
Yeah, but, okay. But here's the thing. You've made enough money that in your lifetime you're not going to spend all the money.
No.
If I give you a contract right now to do a handstand and I'm going to give you $1 million, in your lifetime you're not going to spend that $1 million because by the time you spend all the money you've made before that, you would have died.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The money's, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And do you know what it is for me? It's not that.
What is it? Tell me.
I don't want to mess my kids' heads up. I want them to have some.
Put them economy.
Yeah, I got a friend who did that actually.
Put them in
went
economy.
first class, he put them economy and he got stick from the media for it. But no, the fact is, if you look at the background of people who are successful and rich and they inherit wealth,
Yeah,
down the line it gets lost because the children don't have that work
course.
ethic anymore.
of course.
So I want my children to experience
Sure.
normality
Sure.
as much as I possibly can.
Sure.
I'm going to make an effort to take them to poor countries, to live amongst people that have normal friends. You know, they
Sure.
understand their daddy is not normal. They get it.
Yeah.
My little one you met today, Miela, right?
Yeah.
My mum was
Cute.
called Magella. She's named after her. She's a little diva.
Yeah.
I need to humble her.
Yeah.
I cannot have her.
She looks
walks
like a little
around with
diva.
handbag on her hand.
Yeah.
She's loving it in Dubai Mall. No, I want that diamond ring, daddy. I want this. I want that.
Yeah.
I'm
She
not having
looks like
that.
a little diva.
Yeah, she is.
I first thing I noticed was her attitude.
Yeah.
She comes in with a little, I don't know what she was holding, but she was wearing
Oh,
something.
man, she's like,
Yeah.
she rules the roost. in
Yeah,
our
it's
household.
cute. She's the real boss.
Yeah.
She's the real
All
boss.
six, she's like something else. So yeah, I just think there's a way to bring up kids.
Yeah.
I've got friends who've done it very well.
Yeah.
When you go back to Michael, people think like his kids were allowed to use Neverland whenever they wanted. No, Michael's children were limited to a couple hours per week on the fairground wide or to go to the zoo.
Really?
Yeah. And when we go to Hamleys, they would shut it down for us and he would only buy them a certain amount, financial amount, a couple £100 worth of toys, and he wouldn't like shower them with stuff. He didn't want to ruin them and stuff. And I can
Really?
see it works. Yeah, so for me that's important, keeping
When-
kids grounded.
Now they got the whole inheritance.
Yeah, but they're restricted. They've got an estate
Okay.
that he put in place, and
Okay.
although they have got one hell of an income, but
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Tell me something about Michael you've never told anyone.
yeah,
Come on. Give us
You know-
something.
what's not out there already?
Give us something. As time goes on, more leaks, you know.
I don't think I ever told anyone about the Buckingham Palace story.
Oh, that's what I want to know. I want to know that.
Yeah, so he had this fascination about Prince Harry and William, that he really wanted to meet them, right? So he took matters into his own hands. So one night, and he was on no medication, by the way. He woke me up at about 3 a.m. So I had like a room adjoined to his hotel suite. he shook me awake. Matt, I can't sleep. And sometimes we'd take a black cab ride around London, and it'd just be me and him, and he would go see Big Ben and stuff like that.
Would the cab driver know Michael Jackson sitting in the car?
We'd put a cap on him and stuff. They would never believe it.
Okay,
You know?
got you.
Sometimes they would, and they would be cool, and then they would go back and tell all the other cab drivers, "Oh, you're making it up," and then Michael would do a call in, and so now it's true. We did catch a cab. That was our easiest way out of sticky situation, just jump in a black cab,
Okay.
because no one would ever believe it.
Yeah.
So we get a black cab, and we go around London, and he's like, he knew Prince William and Prince Harry were at Buckingham Palace. Sorry, it's Kensington Palace. What was that? So he told the cab driver, "Well, we're at Kensington Palace." So I went there. Turns out, now bear in mind, Michael can turn up at anyone's house, kings and queens all around the world. There's no issue whatsoever. He normally gets let in. Any superstar, he can just turn up at the gates. Like Barry Gibb from the Bee Gees, he just turns up at the house, knock on the door, and Palm Beach in Miami, and be there. And they let him in any hour of the day. The rules didn't apply to Michael Jackson. So we turn up outside, and I said, "What are you doing here, Mike?" He goes, "Go and tell them that Michael Jackson's in the car, and I want to see Prince William, Prince Harry."
So he's in a black cab,
We're in a black cab,
gone to Buckingham Palace or Kensington Palace, and he's knocked on the door and said, "Michael Jackson's here. What I want to see."
He asked me. You go
Yeah.
up to that security guard.
Yeah.
They got flipping guns and everything, right?
Yeah.
I said, "You're joking me." So I said, "Okay, I'll try." Saying, "I don't think it's going to go down well." He's trying to convince people that you're with the real Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Is something else. He's
Sure.
going to go shopping. So I go up to this guy, and I said, "Listen, this may sound crazy." And he's like, "Stand back." Whoa, calm down. It may sound crazy, but I've got Michael Jackson in the car. Get back. I was like, whoa, forget it. Okay, I'll go back to Michael. So Michael he's going to get freaking shot, man. And he goes, "Let me have a go." And then he gets out, walks up to me, goes, "Hi." He said, "You get back, stand back." And Michael's like running back to the taxi coming in. He said, "Okay, let's go. Let's forget that idea." It wasn't going to happen. Yeah, that was a crazy time.
No
Things like
way.
this too. Whenever we go KFC, that was his favourite food.
Yeah.
He'd always want to order it himself.
Okay.
Because he's fascinated with the fact they don't know that it was Michael Jackson speaking to the intercom.
On the intercom.
On the drive-thrus, yeah.
Incredible. I seen a video that he was in the mall and everyone was actors.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Everyone was actors and
So we can have a shopping experience.
yeah, just like a
I
shopping
remember
experience. Were you there?
2000, yeah, 2003. I think we did that.
Were you at the mall?
Yeah.
You were there.
Dressed up.
Were you?
Everyone was all of us dressed up, and nephews and nieces, and
You were one of them.
yeah, Mark was there, and
Where
it
was
wasn't
that?
like, I wouldn't say it was normal shopping experience
wasn't.
though, because he kind of recognised everyone.
Yeah, exactly. It was all his friends.
Yeah, and they put Billie Jean music on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Oh,
they had
yeah.
music on.
Yeah, he had a good time though.
If you could, God forbid you die tomorrow, if you could choose what life you could go into for your next life, would Michael Jackson's life be one you would choose?
No.
That would be the last.
No, that's like the worst.
The worst.
Yeah.
That's the last life you
That's
would
like
choose.
a caged person.
Really?
Yeah. We had it towards the end when we were out with him. We used to get people shout, for the first time ever, paedophile at us. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and he used to hear it and see tears in his eyes. Yeah, towards the end. That trial really had an effect on the world's view, I think. Even though he's found not guilty and cleared from the FBI after 10-year investigation.
They
Yeah.
had no view. So who are these people that are like, yeah, I did. Yeah, he raped me. What are these kids?
No, these are people we knew. These are like, the thing is that the 93 one was, people need to go. Unfortunately, these aren't available on Netflix, but there's a program called Square One, which investigates a 93 allegation, which basically the family came to him for money to finance a film. He said no. And then they came up with this story that Michael abused the son. They filed a civil lawsuit. They didn't do a criminal. Well, no, you got kids?
No.
Right, so you got kids, so you understand it.
That's why I was
You
selfishly
know,
asking
money,
you.
you're going to want them to go to freaking jail, right?
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
Kill them.
That's why I was selfishly asking you before, should I have kids and find a wife, or should I just
I
stick
get it,
to...
yeah.
It was selfish questions for myself. Anyway.
Yeah, so you're not going to sue. So someone abuses your children,
Yeah.
your child comes up to you and says, someone's molested you, you're not going to want to sue them for money. You're going to go to the police and get their ass hanged or get
Yeah.
a shotgun out. Well, I would
Yeah.
with my kids anyway.
Ah, I see.
So they sued for money,
Good point.
and the district attorney heard about it and wanted them to bring a criminal case, but they wouldn't do it. And then in the end, Michael was in the middle of a tour called Dangerous, and billions were at stake. People's jobs, 2 Boeing 747s to take it all around the world. Everything was on stop. His insurance company overrided it. He wanted to fight the civil case. Overrided it and said, look, this is just what you have insurance for. We need to get you back on the road. Whether you like it or not, we're paying this off. The insurance company did, not him. And you're getting on with your life. And that's what. And there's audio tape saying from Geordie Chandler, who's the boy star, saying, if we go through this, we're going to get this guy big time. And you find it on the internet, but for some reason, the mainstream media don't want to put it out there. So that was 93. Now that opened the floodgates, didn't it? And then there was nothing until 5 or 6 years ago, where Wade Robson and James Safechuck came out and said that they were abused. Now, bear in mind, both these guys were the star witnesses at the trial in 2004, where he's found not guilty on 10 counts of child molestation. They were the first people that were subpoenaed him. Well, they didn't even have to be subpoenaed. They just came of their own accord. They was incredible. Them and Macaulay Culkin. But they came out with these crazy allegations, and it was a 4-hour hit piece documentary. They said they were abused. In fact, I believe the directors had to apologise recently, because the train station where one of them said they were sexually abused by Michael Jackson wasn't even built until this guy was in his late 20s. Wow. Wasn't even there. So it was all ripped apart, this whole documentary. But they sued for money. They sued for money. So this documentary was made, and they don't mention the fact that they both sued the Michael Jackson estate for hundreds of millions of dollars. I think how they did, people would have switched channel and so forth. So when they say there's lots of people come about, there hasn't been. There's been the 1993, that's been dealt with. The insurance company paid that off. And the 2005 one.
Yeah. So there's only been...
And he's been found not guilty on that, under a huge 10-year FBI investigation and trialed in the toughest land in the world. And yeah, just complete nonsense.
It was basically a media
Trial by media.
Yeah, of course.
No evidence. He's not around anymore.
Yeah.
You can't back it up.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, that Michael Jackson story with the Buckingham Palace, hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. What's someone that you've met through Michael, you're like, oh, holy shit, I can't believe I'm sitting down with this person. Like Muhammad Al-Fayed or...
Well, when you make some Michael Jackson, everyone else is a letdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to anyone watching this who's friends of mine,
yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I let down. But for you, it's different because he's your friend. You don't actually... I wouldn't expect you to look at Michael Jackson as, oh my God, that's crazy. It's like, oh, it's just my buddy. I can't believe he's here.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's my hero.
Is he?
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
And through Michael, I got in the same room with him, but never got to meet him. And actually, you know what? Me and Arnold, we're going to do an anti-obesity campaign together in Sydney for the Arnold Classic.
Okay.
But it shows how much my priorities turn. My wife was 8 months pregnant, and there was no way I was going to leave my wife to go to do that, so I turned Arnold down. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so I make sure I could stay with my wife.
No.
Make sure everything's going to be okay. But no, Schwarzenegger wanted to team up and do with Matt Fiddes Martial Arts in Australia and do an anti-obesity.
How long ago was
Get
this?
off the couch, I think it was this thing.
How long ago was this?
2016, something like that. But that was my job. I would have met him and worked with him
Sure.
then and everything. But the time will happen, you know.
Did you carry a gun?
No, we don't have guns. When I looked after Michael, I was in the UK, and obviously there's no guns in England. The American bodyguards have to leave their guns there.
Yeah.
And in America, we have the gun people. I mean, we don't.
You don't actually
We
carry
don't need
yourself.
guns, no.
Yeah, okay, got you.
No.
Have you had any instances where you had to actually... What was the most chaotic experience that you had? That's quite nice though, isn't it?
It's nice, yeah.
That's quite nice. What's the most chaotic experience you had?
Michael made a bad decision once. He hates helicopters,
Okay.
and we had to go to Exeter. And
To where?
Exeter, we're in London,
Okay.
so right on the other side of the UK,
Okay.
on the coast. It's a good 3.5 hour drive. As I told you, he doesn't like the drive to Neverland. Very similar drive to Neverland. He
Yeah.
hates being in the car for that long.
Yeah.
But he hates choppers, so that wasn't going to happen. So he said, why can't we catch a train? And,
Oof.
Chaos. Oh, man. So we turn up at Paddington Station in London, and we walk out onto the platform. Everything's okay at first. And then paparazzi followed us from the hotel, so flashes were going off. People were coming off the train. They were hearing Michael Jackson on the platform, curious. And we hired a carriage on the train. But unfortunately, it was at the back of the train, not at the front. And then it took us, it's on YouTube, you better see it. You put Matt Fiddes, Michael Jackson there, train. We tried to catch the train, it took us literally half an hour to get on the train. And me and Michael were getting pushed up against the rails and cameras were in his face. People were just getting overexcited. That was the scariest time, literally. I was up against the train rails and holding my friend as tight as I can. And he was begging me not to leave him. You could hear his little voice up, you know, Matt, let's come on. We're almost there, we're gonna get there, and up against this train. And then we get in the carriage, we sit down, and we shut the door, and he's there sweating, and I said, Mike, you okay? He goes, sure, I've had this since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the most chaotic time I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Everyone just left their train. They didn't care about getting home, they just wanted to get a glimpse of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things that me and you, we just walk across the platform. I go to that train station a lot. Platform 9, and I walk up it.
Still,
and I remember then I think, how easy is this for me to do, right? And yet for him, it was like complete chaos.
you know, when you look at Michael, he's got such a feminine voice, such
Yeah.
a feminine way. You knew him, the real him.
Yeah.
He wasn't a masculine man, was he?
So we had to remind him to do that. That was part of his act.
No.
So I had to nudge him sometimes. Like, your voice? Oh yeah. I'm gonna go back up again.
No.
No, he had a very deep voice.
No.
Yeah, just like his brothers. Yeah, very deep voice. You put that on.
So the whole thing is an act.
If you go back and watch the rehearsal footage for This Is It, you'll see, because he didn't intend for that footage to be broadcast, you can hear him in a deep voice and so forth. And the whole thing was an act, yeah.
The whole thing
He
was an
wanted
act.
his life, he used to say to us, make sure when we go out, my life stays the biggest mystery on earth. Yeah.
Wow.
He was fascinating people like Howard Hughes, people like that. He wanted the whole mask and the mystery. And he used to say, for people to be interested in you, you have to be interesting.
Yeah.
You've got to stay relevant.
Yeah.
People like Madonna and that are very good at doing that. And,
Yeah.
And yeah, Michael was a legend at that. And that's where the mystique comes from and why things go wrong too.
Yeah.
Because people can't relate to him. When they think of him with a woman, they're like, nah. You know?
The reason why he became so big was because he played a really peculiar character. Like, we look at him like an alien.
Yeah.
You don't really see people, like, we can't relate with him,
Yeah.
right? I think that's why he became so big.
He designed himself. There's a drawing somewhere. He was an incredible artist. And he created himself and how he wanted to look and everything. The whole thing. You think about it.
Yeah.
The one glove, the white socks, the trousers that are too small,
Yeah.
the loafers that he used to wear, the same shoes,
Yeah.
the t-shirt. It was all an act. The face mask, the sticky tape on his nose to make you think he's fallen off. His allergy tape. That's all it was. It guaranteed him billions of dollars of publicity. That's what he used to tell me. That little tape he used to put on his nose. It used to bother me. I was staring at it once, and he said, "Matt, don't worry. My nose is not falling off. But I want them all to believe that this is allergy tape. If I put this on, I get billions of dollars of publicity over the next few days."
Wow.
So, oh, okay, makes sense. The sticky tape on his
Finger?
fingers, yeah. I asked him once, "Why'd you do that?" He goes, "Because people all around the world say, why'd you do that? Keeps me relevant."
Genius.
The guy was a clever, yeah.
Is a marketing genius.
Yeah. It's like, on another level, there's a podcast. The podcast I just did in the UK went viral. That guy, all he did, the interviewer, he wore his t-shirt inside out, and it created all these comments after. Hey, why you got your t-shirt inside out? You do realise your t-shirt, and that was pushing up the algorithms to make it go viral.
Really?
Yeah, little twerky little things you can do.
The guy that interviewed you, the podcaster.
Yeah, James English. You go watch
Yeah.
it. He's got his jumper inside out.
Inside out.
He did it on purpose.
Genius.
I didn't even know it. And I messaged him myself. And you do realise, yeah, of course I did it. It
Genius.
created all these comments, which pushed it up on YouTube even more and
Yeah.
completely viral.
Yeah. Wow, well done. Where did his obsession with plastic surgery come about? Was it him not accepting himself?
So,
Or his insecurity?
yeah. Well, the surgery thing, also, I never talked to him about it. Yeah, you got to remember, I was in my early 20s.
You never talked about it with him?
No.
No.
I think if I did, I would have been shut right out. But what I can say, in the 10 years I knew him, he didn't go under the knife. Sure, he had aesthetics done, which is
Sure.
back then was seen as weird. Now it's normal for Botox,
Sure.
filler, and everything else, isn't it? But back then it was not a thing. But in my era, he didn't have it. Previous to me, he was having it. But he he had like a spiritual advisor who kind of put a stop to it. A guy called Rabbi Shmuley Batek, who he looked up to, and it stopped. Towards his death, sadly the world never got to see it, he actually had new technology came about. He had reconstructive, non-invasive surgery to rebuild and recreate his nose and stuff. So when he came on stage and This Is It, yeah,
he was going to have a new nose.
He was going to look unbelievable, yeah.
Wow.
I think they were taking fat from his back. Dr. Arnie Klein, another doctor, very controversial doctor in California, was treating him on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
When his doctor called you, the guy that obviously he passed
Dr.
away
Colin
from...
Murray.
Yeah. Were you really resentful towards him? Like this fucking geezer? Or were you like, were you hearing him out?
Part of me wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
But then I also wanted to just understand it, because he's not the guy who he knew. I'll tell you what triggered it. He was interviewed, he brought a book out, and he was interviewed, and he said on the last days of Michael Jackson's life, Michael was crying out for Matt Fiddes and Mark Lester. And I read it. It was in the Sun newspaper in the UK. I read it. I thought, wow, Michael's asking for me in the last few days. So I said to my agent, just by chance, we both got the same Australian media agent. I said, look, you know, what the hell was going on? He said, let me just connect you guys, and you can just put a rest to what happened from his side. We were on the phone for a good hour, and he said a lot of things that made sense. Like Michael needed a hip replacement and didn't want to do 50 shows, but he would not take responsibility for what he did. He just would not take it. And he was a doctor. He was there to be care. He said he gave up 4 successful cardiologist practices, gave everything up to live with Michael, and then he lived with him, and he found out he was basically living with a drug addict, a monster.
Got ya.
On prescription drug. He had no idea. But I don't believe that was true. You could not have known if you're a doctor.
No.
But he was just how he was found. The kids were in Las Vegas, so Michael lived in Ireland. He lived in Bahrain after a child, and he went to Ireland. And then 2007, he went back to Vegas, and he was trying to get a residence there, but no one felt he was reliable enough, and he wanted too much money.
At a hotel, residency at a hotel.
Yeah, like Elvis did and so forth, like Celine Dion did and Britney Spears. And while he was there trying to get this deal done, one of the children came down with the flu, basically. You can't just turn up with Michael Jackson and his kids at a local doctor's, so it don't work out very well. So one of the other bodyguards had a friend who knew this doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray, and he was just drafted in to treat the kids for flu. And every now and then he would just pop in and see the kid, make sure everyone's healthy and so forth. You'd never think he would be the guy to administer that lethal dose to kill him.
Wow.
He's just a family doctor, that was it.
Now, do you think he did it in negligence or murder?
Well, he was done for involuntary manslaughter, so he only went to jail for 2 years. Only Michael and him will ever know. They're the only 2 people.
What do you think? Do you think he killed him? He murdered him?
No.
Oh no, involuntary.
I'm not a big buyer into this conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Michael had so many near dices with past doctors and medication. I think it was just an accident, and the doctor should have been there. It's negligence. He should have been there.
Yeah.
He should not have left my mate's side.
Yeah.
He should have been with him the whole time. He shouldn't have given that drug in the first place, because I understand it's not supposed to be used unless it's a hospital setting, and not for sleep.
Sure.
And he should have stood up to Michael and
said no.
Yeah, or took him to a clinic or something and got him help. Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't try to murder him on purpose.
No, I don't believe he would have done. I know people say that because of the Beatles' catalogue worth and Michael's publishing rights and so on, but nah, it just went wrong.
Yeah.
Michael's under a lot of stress then. He had no money and these 50 shows, but they were scaring the life out of him. Can you imagine doing that? His intensity, that's like working out for like 4 hours on the spot every other night.
Even though he had no money, he was still living a very lavish lifestyle. How does that work?
Well, when you're that famous, people give you cars, they give you hotels for free.
Sure.
Hotels in return for the publicity it creates. Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are fake on TikTok at the moment and Instagram where they appear to be rich, but just because they got millions of followers they get given Bugattis, Lambos, hotel suites because the publicity it gets for the brands.
Of course.
You actually try and work out the track record where they made their money, it's very hard to find it. So with Mike, towards the end of his life, from what I understand, the production company funded everything.
I see.
Yeah, and they felt they could control him, they could own him.
Sure.
So,
So he was still living, but he just, he could eat everything, but he just... So who kept the repayments for Netherland?
He lost
Neverland.
that.
He lost it. Before he died, he lost that.
Yeah, he lost it a few years before he died.
And how? I didn't know that. And
All the staff got laid off, it all went to ruin, and he lost it. He had to basically repossess, basically. He had 10% stake left in it, I believe, the estate.
what was his mental state? What was he telling you when that happened?
He couldn't care less because of what the raid that happened there. He didn't see it as a home anymore. He didn't want to go back. He just can't understand it. He built Neverland to give back to charities and stuff, and then the stigma got attached to it.
They ruined it for him.
They ruined it. He didn't ever want to go back, so he couldn't care less.
So the media ruined it for him.
Yeah, the police raid.
Sure.
When they went in there, they
Sure.
flipping ruined everything. They
Sure.
just tore it to pieces.
Sure.
It was never going to be the same for him again.
Sure.
So he had enough of it.
Did you ever get an inkling or like a 2% feeling that Michael could be bisexual?
No.
No.
That guy was like mad into women, man. Like totally. He was mad into women.
Yeah.
No, not even a.
Not even a little bit.
No, not even crossed his mind.
Interesting.
Not a chance.
Okay.
He would like you to think that though,
Yeah, well, exactly.
because he like people keep guessing.
Exactly.
He wants that mystery going.
And that's crazy that's a testament to his to his masculinity that he can control, because anyone a masculine man, I'm not gay. No, but he is someone that's like, no, I don't care. Like, my masculinity is not that fragile for me to want you to think I'm not gay. That, you know?
You see that guy on stage? He's an animal. You can't get more masculine. His groin touching and his freaking dancing. He's fierce, isn't he?
Yeah.
He put the high pitched voice on and the softly spoken, shy. Like his brothers used to say to me, you give my brother a microphone, you put him on stage, he becomes an animal.
Yeah.
He used to come off stage. I'm like, Mike, where did that come from? He said, I don't know. It just comes from above. I don't know how it happens. And,
Wow.
yeah. There's no like massive rehearsals going on, and I think he'll just dance. He'll just step through it. And I asked him. I had this deep conversation with him about the build up to a tour. What is your training plan, your diet, and how do you prepare yourself? Because normal singers just stand there with a microphone. This guy is on it.
Yeah.
3.5, 4 hour shows with proper intense dance routines. And he said, Matt, I do nothing. I just step onto stage and it happens, and I don't prepare.
So you look at him as like a friend, where you think you know who he is, and then when he goes on stage, he's a different beast.
Don't even recognize that man.
And when he comes off stage, you're Michael, what was that? I don't know. It just came from God.
First time I saw him perform, and we were backstage, and he was like this, like bored, and there was like 80,000 people out there screaming, ready for him. I said, "You nervous?" Nah. I just want to get out of the way. So you're not nervous at all? Nah. Wow. And then he said, "Okay, it's time for me to do my thing." And then the music starts going. They go screaming at him. And the spotlight comes, and he just stays still and doesn't move for like 5 minutes. And the crowd's going mad. And then halfway through the performance, I'm stood by the curtain with one of his other friends, and he comes to get changed into the Billie Jean, the famous. The spotlight comes out.
Of course.
He comes out, and he got passed in the white glove. He puts the glove on, and he give him the fedora hat, and he puts the jacket on. He downs an orange juice. That was my thing. I gave him the orange juice. He downs the orange juice, and he goes, "Watch this, man." And he goes straight into the spotlight, boom, and that's it. And I'm thinking, who the hell is this guy, man?
Jesus.
And just the moonwalk right in front of my eyes, and
really?
yeah.
And he said to you, "Watch this."
Yeah, he said, "Watch this." Yeah. Wow. He knew he was the king of pop. And I said to him, because the other staff were teasing me, like his friend, like, because it's the first time I was bodyguard for when he's performing, and I didn't understand this whole statue thing, how he would stand there, not move, and the whole thing behind that was that silence is more powerful than noise sometimes.
Yes.
And it creates the curiosity. And when he flicks his head, everyone went mad. But they were like encouraging me. And this thing was being beamed all around the world to a couple of billion people. So they were joking with me the other style, like, go make sure he's okay. You're the bodyguard now. Make sure Michael's okay. He's just standing still, not like frozen, you know. I'm so glad I didn't go out that night. It would have been deeply embarrassing. But yeah. But I said to him, I got to a hotel room, I said, why you stay still for so long? So I just want to show the world. I don't even have to do anything to create the attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the silence and
Yeah. Jeez.
demanding it.
So obviously, like, you would respect the fuck out of him after him being like, watch this, and he goes out there and he does something like that. You go, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
He's a
and then we
beast.
get back to the room, he get changed his pajamas with the freaking box, with the squeaky thing on the front, and then put, like, nothing's happened. And then we got to try and sleep. After 80,000 people were chanting. How'd you try and sleep after that?
Yeah.
It's like nothing to him.
Did he live a rockstar lifestyle where it was like groups of girls that come back to his hotel room after a concert?
No, he's very selective. He had his regulars.
Got ya.
Yeah. There was never nothing like that, no.
Nothing
He
like
was too
that.
respectful to women.
Was he?
Yeah.
So he had his regulars that he liked. And...
Even to this day, the girl he was seeing regular, she's still single. She's probably contracted up, I'd imagine. I don't know. We stay in touch.
Yeah.
She's very well known within the family, and yeah, she's kind of like put her life on hold still all these years on.
Really?
Yeah.
She's still stuck in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean, like she's still in love with him and she can't fall in love with another man?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he adored her. But
Why didn't he marry her?
I don't think he wanted to put her under that kind of limelight. You saw what happened to Lisa Marie Presley,
Sure.
and it just, I can't imagine being Michael Jackson's wife. Like,
Yeah.
dear me.
Is she white?
She's white, yeah.
She was white. American.
She's French.
French.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, probably.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, man. He can have anything he wants, yeah.
Tell me one of the memories that you will cherish forever that you had with Michael Jackson.
It was my birthday, and I was being told I need to stay up late by my other half.
Stay up. You were told what?
I needed to stay up late by my other half, and it was like 2 a.m.
Okay.
at home. And then the electric gates buzzer goes. Who the hell is this time of night? And this is a little sleepy town in North Devon in Barnstable. And I get told to open the gate. It's my birthday surprise. And then 3 cars come down, and then out pops Michael. Hey, happy birthday!
What,
Can I hang out with you for a few days?
He flew in just for
Yeah,
that.
he flew in just for me on birthday. Yeah. Other things too. So when Mum was dying, that guy was incredible. So we would miss each other's calls, but then he would speak to other family members and hear she was in a bad way at home and so forth. And she lived in the Midlands, just underneath Birmingham, basically.
Sure.
In the UK, and he'll be in another country, and he would just literally, Mum would call me and say, Michael's here, just turn up in his living room and talk with her for hours and sleep on the sofa and stuff. And
He just rock up like
yeah,
that.
it's my stepdad and
Wow.
my mum, and just be there and just joke and keep her. I think it wouldn't for him. She wouldn't last. She lasted 4 years. She got given 6 months to live, but he kept her positive. He had that effect, you know. He really cared. Yeah, he would go out of his way and just turn up at her house, just a regular house in Kidderminster, UK.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Tell me another memory you've never told anyone about Michael. You told me the palace, the Buckingham Palace one, where he goes there trying to. By the way, when they're like step away, do they not realize it's Michael Jackson?
They don't believe us.
Ah, they didn't believe you.
We used to get all the time and turn up at places, and half the battle was trying to convince people that it was him. I'll tell you the hardest thing is when we needed a GP and we had to give his name, like we needed a doctor for him or kids, and say, can we have the patient's name? Yeah, it's Michael Joseph Jackson, and they'll say, yeah, and I'm Elvis Presley, and they put the phone down. That was a battle, trying to get him
Really?
a doctor and stuff, and trying to, just normal stuff. I'll tell you one of the good ones.
Yeah.
So, you just mentioned about going for a pee.
Yeah.
That is the biggest challenge as a bodyguard to a superstar you have, right? So if you're going along a motorway or whatever you call it here, highways,
Freeway, yeah.
and you want to stop off at a service station, me and you just stop off, no issue, get back in the car,
Yeah.
done. You're Michael Jackson, good luck. It's a proper,
Is it?
you have to walk in, service station, and say, listen, get the manager, listen, this man say crazy to you, but I've got one of the biggest superstars in the world in the car park. He needs to use the bathroom. Can I ask you politely, please, to shut all the bathrooms down just for 5 minutes? And they always will ask, who is it? You cannot say who it is, because if you do, they won't believe you.
Okay.
So then normally think it's just like a TV star. And they go, they put the cleaning in progress sign, please do not enter.
Sure.
Then we grab him, we rush him in, and the look on their face when they realise who it is like, wow.
Everyone's like, it's just the noise of hearing that when he walks in.
The manager's face.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, it's Michael Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he always do this thing, hi, and stuff. And they'd always say the same thing, I can't believe it's you. And he'd always say, I have to be somewhere in the world. At some time, I am human, This clearly proves it.
Yeah, he always says that.
Yeah.
To all of them.
Yeah.
So I have to be somewhere in the world.
Yeah, when we used to check out the hotel room and walk down the corridor, and there'd be other guests checking out, like, it can't be you, surely. Can't be you. Yeah, I have to be somewhere in the world.
Sure. That's a good point.
I am
That's a
human,
good point. And then when he comes out of the bathroom, I imagine they wouldn't let him go that easily. There's like, let's take photos.
Yeah, they're always, well, back then, there was none of these smartphones or nothing.
Sure.
So the photo thing wasn't much of a thing.
It was signatures.
It was autographs, yeah.
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 So there was no selfies or nothing like that. It was, man, today's times would be, you imagine it? People holding up their phones and...
Today's time would be insane.
Yeah.
It would be crazy.
So now when we come out, it would be chaos. There's some footage, which we'll get to you, where Michael had this crazy idea. He was bored one afternoon. It was a Saturday afternoon. I knew it would be a disaster. I'm sure he did in the back of his mind. He just wanted to make a statement. But he wanted to check that his records were being distributed correctly by Sony Music. He had a bit of a dispute with them. So Oxford Street, HMV record store, he wanted to visit. And it was peak time, like 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I said, Michael, why don't we wait and we'll see if we can get it shut down for you? Because we can't just turn up. He goes, no, I want to go now. Me, you, and one other security. I said, okay. So we park outside. I've got all on tape. It's insane. And we get out and we walk in the front entrance of HMV record store on Oxford Street. The staff can't believe it. Look at their eyes. They're like double glancing. You can see the look on their face. And we say, can you tell us where the Michael Jackson section is, please? So you've got to go up the escalator. It's right at the back. So we go up the escalator, and Michael's waving at people. And we get to the Michael Jackson section. There's people flicking through, like his albums, Thriller and all the rest of it. And he starts flicking through. He's like, hi, how you doing? They're stood next to Michael. What the hell? And he picks each one of the CDs. He wants to check that they're there, distribution is right, and he wants to take them back to the hotel to check the quality of the CD, the audio, that it's all up to standard. And anyway, we're doing that, and then the manager comes over, and then all the checkout staff come over, all queuing up for autographs, and then security shut down all the escalators, and they say, I'm really sorry, is there any chance we can ask you and Mr. Jackson to go to the back? So sure. So we went to the back, and they said, sorry, we mean the fire exit. So we went to the back of the fire exit, and it's like this little tunnel, and we're stuck on the side of the fire exit, and we're there for about 20 minutes. Michael's not bothered. He just stood there with all his albums like that. And then the manager comes back and he said, we're going to need to call the police. I said, well, what's the problem? He said, oh, the whole of Oxford Street is shut down. Words got around that Michael Jackson's in here, and everyone's waiting for a glimpse to catch him on the way out. And we don't know how you guys are going to get out.
No.
So we had to wait for the police to come and help us, and we decoyed it and got him out.
Got him out.
Took us about 3 hours, yeah. I got it on tape. I'll send it to you.
Jeez.
And you go in and we go in the front and stuff. The reason we got everything on tape is people used to sue him all the time.
Sure,
He had
of
over
course.
1,000 lawsuits in his life.
Of course.
And jump under the cars or said he got hit, hoping they could meet him. So we had the big old camcorders. So he made us film everything. And if ever he got sued, we'd store it for him and then we'll send it to him. So we've got the evidence. So footage don't lie. So I got literally hundreds of hours of footage of us out and about with camcorders back out. When you got to live a life like that, it's terrible, isn't
Of
it?
course. It's horrible. When he did go to prison, you know how he came out and saying they beat me up, they urinated on me, everything like that. Was that true?
Yeah.
They actually did that.
Michael was bruised. His freaking forearm was all battered up.
Why would
and
they do that?
He couldn't move his shoulder.
Why would they do that?
I got you. You want to see the press conference? Go back and watch the press conference. That guy, so it's the same district attorney. He tried to get him in 1993, but the family wouldn't file a criminal. They wouldn't do it. They just wanted the money. This time around, he wanted to make a name for himself before he retired. So he did a press conference saying, we've got a warrant for Mr. Jackson. Anybody else, that wouldn't happen. They did a proper press conference. It was shameful. It was awful. And he wanted to make a name for himself before he retired. He wanted to get Michael Jackson in jail. He even got sent, this is an exclusive for you, they managed somehow to work out, the police did, to send pictures of the jail cell which he was going to go to if he was found guilty. And he had to be found guilty of one thing. Yeah, out of the 10 counts.
Wow.
Actually sent the jail cell, just a toilet.
They said, this is your house.
This is going to be, with a handwritten note, this is where you'll go, it's all ready for you.
Why would they torment him like that?
Yeah, a lot of racism, man, out there, and yeah, jealousy on the highest level. They just couldn't relate to him. And if you're a cop, if you imagine if you the district attorney who puts Michael Jackson in jail, you're the most famous district attorney in the world, aren't you?
Yeah.
He wrote a song about that guy. That guy was always out to get him, and he didn't even apologise at the end when Michael was found not guilty of everything. The evidence was so ridiculous. There was no evidence. It was just complete nonsense. No, it's the same guy. The 2005 accuser hired the same lawyer, 1993, for the civil case, the same district attorney, everything. The only difference, because of that case in 93 where Michael wanted it to be trialed, the law changed because of that case. You had to have a criminal case first, then a civil suit after. So this kid family couldn't just come for money. They had to go through the criminal one, then go for money.
Got ya.
They changed it. As time goes on, though, this is all starting to fall away. And next year, you've got the Michael Jackson biopic coming out, which will be the biggest movie of all time.
Wow.
The same people that made the Freddie Mercury one, Bohemian Rhapsody, they're filming right now.
Did they not reach out to you to help?
They've reached out in like consulting about, did this happen here, what happened here, etc. But no, I don't know where. I think they would like the Freddie Mercury. Have you watched that one, Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, of course. I love that.
Yeah, they're going to draw a line on a certain part, I believe. They're working with the estate, with the family. Michael Jackson's nephew, Jermaine Jackson's son, Jafar, is playing
Michael Jackson,
Yeah. And he'll be awesome because Jermaine and Michael were very similar. And
they're the closest probably.
very similar the way they spoke and the mannerisms and stuff.
Yeah. Was he closest with him or you think Janet?
Everyone just think they're close to Janet, right? I remember walking around Muhammad Al-Fayed's garden with him once and talking about Janet. Because, man, everyone's always talking to me about Janet. Sometimes I go 2 or 3 years without speaking to my sister.
Wow.
Yeah. Jermaine had his back.
Yeah.
He was the tough brother. I remember Jermaine telling me once, Steven Seagal was saying nasty things about Michael. And there was a film premiere. And Steven Seagal was there. Jermaine Jackson was there. And Jermaine told me and Tita was there too. Jermaine went up face to face with Seagal and he made a fist and he said to him, stop talking nonsense about my brother. And he said to me, Matt, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I'm going to try and defend my brother somehow against him. But he don't take no nonsense. Jermaine was the tough one.
Yeah.
Tito too. They had Michael's back.
Did Michael financially support everyone?
No.
No, he didn't support the mum, the dad.
The mum.
The mum.
Yeah.
What about
She's
the dad?
looked after now. No.
He didn't financially support the dad.
I think he did in early times, but there wasn't no I think people got in trouble or whatever.
I mean, how did the dad make money?
Just being Joseph Jackson, appearances, interviews, stuff like
That's
this.
it.
Yeah.
So he wasn't actually making money.
No.
He wasn't actually making like Michael Jackson type money.
None of them were making Michael Jackson. I mean,
of course
they all end up with normal jobs, and some of them worked in supermarkets. One became a mechanic, and but
one became a mechanic.
Yeah.
He worked at a supermarket.
One was stacking shelves. Yeah.
One of Michael Jackson's siblings.
One of his brothers. Yeah.
Did you not ever speak to him about that? Like, hey, listen, pay him.
I didn't speak to him about that, but I used to hear his brothers moan about it. Like,
pay him $100 a year. Get him at least $100,000 a year.
Michael used to feel that it was the divorces that used to blow the money away, and when does it ever end? You know?
His divorces.
No, his brother's divorces.
Sure.
So I'm sure he helped them out in the younger days and stuff, but
sure.
Yeah, I think he came to a point where he just wanted to look after himself and his kids. But he took care of his mum. She took care of to this day. She's in her 90s now.
Yeah.
She's took care of him.
And she's still around.
She's still around. Yeah.
Is Joe still around?
No, he died a few years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I would have thought he would have at least like supported some of the family, like brothers and sisters and stuff like that. Because if you're in Michael's situation, you blow up and you got 8 siblings. Of course, you're gonna be like, listen, I'm gonna pay you guys 100,000 each.
Yeah.
Listen, I haven't even. I'm not like that, but I support my mum and dad.
Yeah.
I pay my mum and dad a salary. You know what I mean? To make sure they don't work and they're good.
I mean, I don't think the brothers would have wanted it, and also it's difficult, right? Because the Jacksons would say he's only there because of the Jackson 5. He would not be there if it weren't for us. Yet Michael would say, I'm Michael Jackson. I'm the one who pulled this thing together.
Sure.
So there's always a bit of a clash
Sure.
there. And I never used to hear them moan about it, to be fair. They got their own little things going on. And
Yeah.
Janet had her own. We crossed paths with Janet. She had her own camp, her own people, her own bodyguards and career. And they're all lovely though. They have a Jackson Day once a year, and I was privileged to be at one of them. And they all come together at the Havenhurst house in California and have a barbecue, and they're just a normal family.
Yeah. I remember I was watching one video where they were having like a day together in Neverland, and they were just barbecuing and they're going around. Yeah. Michael threw someone in the pool. Yeah. You know.
Jackson Day.
Yeah, was that a Jackson Day? Was it?
Yeah, he would have been a Jackson. And interesting, the last time they saw Michael was at a Jackson. Janet put on a party for a wedding anniversary for her mum and dad, Catherine and Joseph. And Michael turned up on the 16th of, it was her birthday, 16th of May. He turned up for an hour or so, had a picture of them, and then he died a month later.
That's the last time they've seen him?
Yeah, he's waved goodbye, so see you all in London.
Yeah.
That was the last time I saw him. Yeah.
Were you at the funeral?
So the funeral, there was like 4 funerals. So you had the original,
the one that was televised.
One that's televised, which is the memorial. Which we all went to. We had access to.
You went to that one?
Went to that one, and then they had the one before the memorial, which was I think more the funeral. I didn't go to that. And then there was the one where he was entombed at the end, but it happened a long time back. I think it was because of I heard...
Autopsy.
Yeah. Apparently it took his brain away. There was a bit of disbelief that he died of a drug overdose. So it went on and on and on and on and on.
Sure.
But he was entombed at, I think it was end of September.
What does entombed mean?
He's in like a tomb.
Above ground?
Yeah.
Where?
In Forest Lawn Cemetery.
Can anybody go there?
No. You have to be on a list, and it goes right down. And
it's underground?
You can go to the building, but you can't go inside.
Oh, so it's a building.
Yeah, it's a huge place. Like Elizabeth Taylor's there, and Walt Disney's there, and people like that.
Got ya. And what does it look like inside? It's basically above ground tombs of celebrities.
Yeah, he's got his own little area with his own window to it. It's like mega bucks to keep. Whether they'll keep him there or not, I don't know, but that's where it is. But it's shut off to the fans, which I don't think he would have wanted that. He loved his fans. I think he would want his fans to have somewhere to visit or something, you know.
Sure.
But no, it's shut off completely.
To the fans completely.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, I've really enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah, a bit different, isn't it?
I really enjoyed this podcast. I really have. It's really interesting for me, to be honest with you. Some of the things that you've said. What a life you've lived. Mate, come back anytime. It's nice to have you in Dubai. When are you leaving, by the way?
I believe Sunday.
Sunday you're leaving. And when are you coming back?
I'll come back soon, maybe like May, I think.
Okay.
We're going back up we made a mistake. We booked into the north, and it's not like here.
What do you mean, north?
I asked my team to book me in to go to Dubai, and they booked me a family holiday at this resort up in, is it Rak?
Rak.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
No. Just let me know. Let me know next time you're in town. I'll send you some options. And let me know what you're after.
Wednesday night we're going to go back up to Rak, and then...
Okay.
It's all right, you got the beach there. Actually, it's not sunny today, so we did not think coming to Dubai.
No.
When the kids' face when we arrived at Dubai last night, like, wow.
Yeah, they loved it.
We took them to the mall, and they saw that building all light up. And
Yeah, Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
Well, mate, appreciate you coming on board.
What you got on today, then?
Thank you, my brother.